Please.
I don't have hair.
Oof.
You got Marcos.
That's not.
Wait.
Yeah,
That's true. You do got me. Get over here, Marcos. Let me look at you.
They don't want it.
Tobin and Leroy, ready to deploy. Had to hit it with a little journalism, but that was a decoy. Better have about me, boy. Okay, Leroy and Tobin, hold to the show, man. Till the stars with the show, and till then it's half moon open. Sometimes go taste like a snowman. No proof of my life, better more than no proof. Like I always wanted him, I never hated him, I never traded him, and if I did, I never ever traded him. You know what is a star? Like another city, the driver's side fly. Gucci get large, so many more. 10 in the more, never a bar. 8, 10 in the more, 2 to the P. Nothing to you, but it's something to me. Handsome as ever and cute as can be. You can watch us on YouTube and view it for free. Ay. This one time for the Twitch. This one time for the text. This one time for the phone line. Whole time wonder what they gonna do next.
You know, I just wish you guys would stop the quibbling.
How about them fish, huh?
On the heater.
You can't be stopped right now. Just mowing through the NL West. Peter Bendix. I always knew he was going to turn it around.
Oh,
I always knew this Peter Bendix was going to get it.
By the way, Marcos,
Right.
let's be clear.
Yep.
He also did this with Paul Maurice.
Actually, I tried doing
No,
it.
you did.
I tried doing this with Peter Bendix earlier in the year, and then they went in the toilet.
Which is like exactly what they're going to do now. I mean,
We don't know. You don't know that.
You think we're out of the
You don't know
woods?
that.
Oh, wait.
You don't know that. You
So
don't know that.
basically, you're saying Tobin mushed it.
I
gonna
cannot
mush
deny
it.
mush. I cannot deny mush allegations for earlier in the year because I tweeted that maybe I rushed to judgment on Peter Bendix when the Marlins were off to like a really hot start to the season. But now all of a sudden the bats are coming back alive.
Pitching's
Otto
turned around.
Lopez, pitching is getting there. I mean, Edward Cabrera. Well, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. He's all of a sudden pristine. Now they're going to trade him for prospects, but he's looked great. Cal Quantrill throwing less meatballs. Sandy, he had it going for a little bit there. He's pitched better. Hard to pitch words. He's pitched better. And of course we got Yuri back, but the bats, man. I mean, the bats on this team, they got sticks. They got sticks and they're coming through. Stowers starting to find the groove. That was Otto Lopez. Oh my God. Automatic.
Is that baseball though more than this team? Because, well, here's what I mean.
Hey, Leroy, I know you like to do that. I don't know if you've watched the Marlins lately. Plenty of summer swoons that have just lasted the whole season.
No, I know, but here's what I'm saying. Other teams, so let's use the Yankees, for example.
If we must.
They play half the season without Giancarlo Stanton, right? The Mets, Juan Soto, he struggled earlier, right?
By Soto standards, yes.
Right. But these teams have enough money and enough players to sometimes withstand that. The Marlins, if they sign you up to be a hitter and you ain't hitting, the team reflects that immediately because they don't have the depth or the money to just have all of these guys on their team. Same thing with pitching. If the Marlins have 2 aces, they need to be aces, and they struggle. They're not like the Yankees or other teams that go 3, 4, 5 deep with decent pitching.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, like, really what that does is it doesn't afford you mistakes. Like,
right, that's my point.
If you're talking about like Sandy stinking up the joint and he bakes $15 million a year, like it's harder for the Marlins to dig out of that with some money.
That's my point. So that's why, they kind of go through this maybe more than other teams because they don't necessarily have the depth or the money to spend on depth or that player or,
Well, it just, I mean, like, yeah, I get you. I mean, more so though is like they've been one of the worst offenses forevermore. Like they just haven't had anybody. Because even in baseball, you're gonna have some young talent eventually come up and hit. And now they finally like, oh my God, they actually have some guys who are capable of offense. Now, like some stories like Otto Lopez coming up here and basically turning into Derek Jeter. I mean, I don't know what to do. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But
Right.
like, I got to give it up for Bendix. I mean, like Agustin Ramirez. I mean, that dude, he did great on the Jazz Chisholm trade. He did great with the Trevor Rodgers trade last year with Stowers and Norby.
Are we too soon with that though?
I think Trevor Rodgers got sent down to AAA. I don't think we do have to be too soon.
Okay,
feel bad for him. He was a very-
remember,
Very nice man. He had like one good half a season.
you are notorious for a guy having a great month and doing this, and then next month you'll say Peter Bendix sucks.
But it's hard to say he sucks when like you basically traded two starters who are hitting for you pretty strongly for a guy who's up and down with the Orioles.
Right.
Like it's so he has made, give it up for old prospects. Prospects. He's made some good moves.
I'm just as wait.
You
Marcos,
don't trust him because of his glasses.
I just don't like
Marcos,
him. Just looks weird.
as a friend.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give him a little pause because we know one way or another, just like he was on Peter Bendix, like sometimes he gets a little overexcited one way or another
We're
about
almost in third place.
circumstances.
Okay.
We're almost in third place.
What sucks is this justifies the season. We can be the Marlins and normal Marlins for the rest of the season, but we'll be like, remember that streak? Give him another year. And then just suck.
He's not going anywhere.
I know
Though.
he's not going
He's
anywhere.
not going anywhere.
No
Like
one's
you act
going
like he's
anywhere.
on the hot seat. He's not going. Then they just hired McCullough. Like he's not going anywhere.
No one's going
We're
anywhere.
almost in third place.
Okay, yeah. Just give me a flag for that. We're almost in third.
That's
Wait,
pretty good.
So are we past that midway point? We're past the midway point about now.
Yeah.
So what I would say is this. Like, how many games are they out of first?
11.
That's not well, okay. Now, you know how I am, right? I try to be the voice of reason. Tobin is he's ready to go one way or another. But I'm gonna say this. 11 games out is not drastic.
Plenty of baseball left.
Right.
Plenty of baseball left. Plenty
Right.
of baseball left.
Now, I don't know if they're going to continue at this clip, but I do think you get a couple of series with the teams ahead of you. And
I'm sorry, I just laughed at Dade South's comment.
what did he say?
Bendix was the kid with the book bag that had wheels on it. I picture a briefcase. That's what I
Oh,
picture.
Oh, really?
In
I picture
kindergarten?
I
A
picture
briefcase in
Bendix-
kindergarten?
Oh, yeah, I picture
Yeah.
Bendix going to chemistry class with a briefcase in 7th grade
For sure.
and calling out
He
somebody.
definitely had the shirt with the pocket
Oh,
thing.
100%.
Oh,
He's like Peter Bendix looks like he graduated high school when he was 14. Like they could have made a sitcom about him. Like he's young Sheldon. That's what I that's what I picture him at.
Here's
Like he's
what I would
correcting the
say.
teacher in physics and high school physics.
Here's what I would say about the Marlins.
Technically.
Now, when I'm scrolling through, I stop on Marlins games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been and it has piqued my interest, and I would say that is where I determine where the sport is. So, for example, like football, you're gonna watch football, regardless of how bad your team is. You're gonna watch football. It's the NFL.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna watch football. Basketball is right. You get tired. But you're gonna give a looky-loo. Baseball, you're like, I'm not, but I'm to the point now where, like I stop and watch some of these games.
Well, I know Sunday's a
extra
golf.
innings game the other night, huh?
I know Sunday's a golf day for you, but baseball's a great Sunday background sport. It is.
Well,
Just
that's
to
what I
have
do it. I do it when I'm watching my golf. Because
Yeah.
golf, unlike any other sport, you can leave and come back and they'll update you. So you don't really miss nothing unless it's at the end. I watched the last 15 laps of the NASCAR race.
You did?
Right? Yeah, because I was stopping and it said 15 laps left. I'm like, oh, let's see what we got. Like, it's just, but
I take it you didn't stay up till like 2 a.m. watching UFC on Sunday.
no,
God, it was good.
I watched a couple of the prelims.
I wish I could have snorted.
I gotta tell you, when heavyweights fight on the preliminary card,
that was a great fight. The
holy
first fight,
they look exhausted all the time, right?
But like sometimes they're just staring at each other. Those big guys got after it.
Yeah,
they were throwing bombs. But man, dude, I wish I could have snorted this card. It was so good. Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
You got your money. You got your money's worth.
Did I get my money's worth? Dude, they needed a night like this. Like Ilia Topuria.
Was it International Fight Week?
It was International Fight Week.
Right.
It was International Fight Week. But Ilia Topuria, I mean, the knockout he had on Charles Oliveira stoned him. I mean, like just a right hand that dropped him like a sack of potatoes to win his second belt. And he's just, I mean, this dude's a wrecking crew right now. He's knocked out Oliveira, Holloway, who was never knocked out before,
right?
And Volkanovski, and he's buzzing through people. And now it seems like he's setting up a big time fight with Paddy Pimblett, Paddy the Baddy, because Paddy the Baddy, friend of the show,
was talking trash in the peripheral.
Well, they went to 3 guys in the crowd, and they went to Arman Sarukian, Justin Gaethje, and Paddy the Baddy. And Sarukian, here's the problem with him. He was the number 1 contender. He was supposed to fight Islam Makhachev, but he messed up and missed weight the last time. He said something went on with his back. I don't know if he was like doing yoga with like a YouTuber or something like that, but he ends up not being able to make weight. And so that was why Renato Moicano got to jump into the title fight last time around against Islam. And so Islam wins that fight easily, and Islam's like, I'm going to 170. All right. So I think Sarukian's on the outs, even though he was the number 1 contender, because he hasn't fought since. He's kind of doing this whole thing sitting on the sidelines. Never works out well for you in the UFC. Then you have Gaethje, and Gaethje just beat Fiziev, who's like a very good fighter. But, before that, he got knocked out cold by Max Holloway. Now he's going to say, well, that was a favor fight. I was doing that for the UFC. Very true, but you did get knocked out.
Hey, that's why, you know what? They should have like side notes, because this happens in UFC a lot, where you take a fight because of somebody getting injured or whatever, and you get half the time to train, and then you got to struggle making weight, and then you go out there and get pieced up, and everybody's like, you shouldn't have been fighting in this fight. But there's reasons behind it, and I think that it should be clarified, because this happens a lot more than people think.
Right. And so Paddy the Baddy, then they go to him in the crowd, and he's like, I'm going in the cage. And so he goes into the cage and faces off with Topuria, and you're just like, this is the fight. And I don't care that he's ranked 8th, and his best win is knocking out a washed old Michael Chandler down here in Miami. I get that. It's not like the most impressive win, but sometimes a fight just makes sense. And you're just like, you want to know what? This is our next generation fight. You got the most exciting champion we've probably had on the come up since Conor. Just won his 2nd belt. And you got this loudmouth, bleep talking Scouser from Liverpool who's like, and they genuinely hate each other. Like there's just genuine animosity with one another. And I just think like the week that you lose the John Jones fight, this doesn't have to be hard. Put those guys at Madison Square Garden in November or in Vegas in December. Let's run it. Who cares? You guys have messed with the rankings all the time anyway. Anybody who's mad about Justin Gaethje not getting a title fight, he ain't going anywhere. Fight him in February. It's fine. And Sarukian, be honest with yourself. You don't care about watching Arman Sarukian fight. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. So just make this super fight. Let's get going. The buildup is going to be incredible between these two. And I mean, he's like, and Paddy Pimblett's never been knocked out. But you want to know why? Why is that, Marcos? Because he's a what?
Scouser.
Because he's a scouser. And so you have this guy who knocks out everybody and a guy who's never been knocked out. The buildup's going to be incredible. The UFC hasn't had a young generation fight like this buzz with young. I mean, I'll rack my brain. Maybe I'm missing one that's super obvious, but like, I'm just like, this one just seems like such an obvious layup.
So, like, he's the 8th ranked contender.
Yeah. Well, he just got in the rankings because he knocked out Michael Chandler.
Oh, so he was in a different weight class before.
Yeah, but the rankings, like,
well, can I ask you a question? This is a fight question. So
yeah. Sure.
When has there ever been anyone to move up in class and immediately move up the ranks without fight? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, Topuria just was the featherweight champion, and he popped right up and got the title fight.
Oh, but he was a champion though.
Yes, but I'm like, that's usually what happens. Usually.
Right. So that has nothing to do with rankings. But I'm saying here, even though he just moved up, Paddy the Baddy's 8th.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Is that going to be a hard sell for the 7 guys above him?
I don't think it, because here's the thing. Sarukian's 1. I already explained. Nobody gives a rat's ass.
Right. Is he not? He's not a good fight. Is he?
No,
he's not exciting.
He's a good fighter, but like, you missed weight for your championship fight. Like,
right.
And then he doesn't want to fight again. Like, you have to go earn the shot again. If you blow it like that,
so you got to go. You got to go fight somebody else.
You got to go fight
another
somebody
contender.
Or I just don't want to hear about your whining about somebody getting it in front of you. You can wait it out if you want to. Like, Colby Covington's done that, but I don't want to hear about your whining. Charles Oliveira's 2nd. He just got knocked out. Gaethje's 3rd, but he's had 2 title shots before. He was knocked out a fight ago. And he beat Fiziev, who's ranked 10th below Paddy Pimblett.
I got you.
3 is Max Holloway. 5 is Dustin Poirier. They're fighting next month.
So why doesn't Gaethje fight Paddy Baddy?
Why doesn't Gaethje? He could. But because just do the title fight. Just do it.
Just do it. But it doesn't. But in fairness to the fight game, normally how it works is Paddy would fight Gaethje.
Okay, but here's the problem with that. If they fight, that means you'd have to give it to Sarukian, because you're not going to put a guy who's this red hot.
Back to back.
You're not going to put him on you would have then, if you would have had to wait for the winner for that, you're basically putting this guy on the shelf for 8 months.
Okay.
Like, what you should do is have him, he's got a main event either November or he's got a main event December. So just have Paddy. And so, like, you go to 6 is Dan Hooker, whatever. Like, Dan Hooker's having a nice resurgence. He's been a career journeyman. Matus Gamrot, very solid fighter. He could come out here and choke me out right now. I barely would know his face. And that's I know he trains down here. I'm sorry, Mr. Gamrot, but I know that you train down here, and you're like, you're everybody says you're the most underrated guy in the division. He has lost recently. I think he lost to Sarukian. So, like, the rest of the division, you can talk through all the way to get to the 8th ranked guy. And like, they just did this with like Khalil Roundtree versus Pereira, and they were like, oh, well, it should have been Ankalaev. Guess what? Ankalaev got to fight Pereira 3 months later, and he won the belt. So, like, if you're Sarukian, okay, dude, no bigs. You don't want to fight? Wait, next year you'll get the belt. But right now, we got a super fight on our hands. You don't let that slip. They've just let it slip with John Jones. John Jones put him through the ringer. Okay, guess what? Now you got to fight. Paddy Pimblett versus Topuria. Let's not be stupid about this and talk about prospects. You know what that is? That's MMA purist. Anyway, this was an exciting long segment for a return. It's been great. I'm obviously fired up from the weekend. We haven't even gotten into all the stuff that's going on. We got Sam Bennett back. We got Davion Mitchell back. We don't look like we got Duncan Robinson back, or Aaron Rodgers, or promotion. We'll be following all that stuff back after this.
Previously on
Tobin and Leroy.
This Rays guy looks like he eats lunch alone.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Good to be back with you here on a Monday. Enjoyed the long weekend. Got another one coming up, huh? A little 4th of July. You guys are buying fireworks later today?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When are you two gonna grow up?
Hey,
boom,
I'm going to tell you, this is becoming a tradition like no other. We're going to get to the doors. We're going to walk in and we're going to go, hello, friends.
Wow. All right. Well, so what are you're going Roman candle? Is that what you're looking at?
No, I don't do Roman candles. I don't do handhelds.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know why? Because you can't trust people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't. I get the boxes. I put my little plywood. I got like a 8x10 ply, like it's maybe 4 feet by 5 feet plywood. I go in the front yard. I sit them on the plywood, light them up so there's no shaking, then there's no moving. Everybody sits in the driveway, watch the fireworks. If I put something in somebody's hands, especially the younglings, you know what's gonna happen. Somebody gonna want to shoot one of the Roman candles at somebody else. That's what always happens. For some reason, that's what they feel those things are for. So I'm trying to be responsible. You want to hold the firework? Here's a nice long sparkler. Now, somebody was telling me, Marcos.
Yeah.
I was at PT this morning.
Mm.
Somebody was trying to tell me they got a place in Boca that's better.
Oh, Phantom.
Yeah,
Is that the place on Glades?
I believe so. Yeah. Phantom Fireworks.
I've
I
seen that
believe
place.
so. Yeah.
but
I've heard it's good.
What
I said is,
meet up?
Whoa.
We'll meet up?
Whoa.
what I said was, I said yes. But can you check the fireworks before you purchase them?
Come on.
Do you want me to do a scouting trip?
No, we already locked in.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I mean, like I'll do a scouting mission if you want. It's right on. That's on the way home. I know the exact place he's talking about.
Yep. It is Forest Hill Boulevard. Does that sound familiar or no?
What's it called?
Forest Hill Boulevard. Is that anywhere in New
Oh, that's a different. Well, Forest Hill's even closer to me.
Oh, wow.
But listen, let me tell you something about Palm Beach County.
Hey,
They love their pyrotechnics.
hey, but listen, not for nothing, but that's Little Davy. That's like Rich Davy up there.
James Evans says, "Don't go to any of those places. Their prices suck. I got the real hookup for you.
Ooh.
My boy even delivers."
What? Okay, no, don't trust that. No, don't trust that.
Dude, wait, hold on. Your boy delivers fireworks.
Those fell off a truck, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Those fell off a.
Wink.
But here's the other problem. You don't really know what you're getting. Right? That's what I like about the place I go to. Now,
It's like
I will say this about fireworks. Folks, here's the conundrum that I have when I go to the fireworks place. They put them in different boxes and they do the same stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
A little
I know
repackaging.
I know me and Fonz, when we go, we try to figure we're going to have like 25 to 30 minutes lighting the sky on fire, and then we done. Some of these things are like $80 for 15 seconds. Right. So, like, no. So we want people to enjoy themselves. They don't know.
Heat Colt
So
says,
we go, Fonz, 45 seconds.
Ooh.
$39. Like, yeah.
Heat Colt says, "You want M80s in the industrial stuff? You got to drive to North Carolina."
Yeah,
I
think he's
don't
talking
want
about
no. Listen,
south of the border. Ever been there? That's what it's
listen.
called.
3 letters. JPP. When you say M80s, because you know, here's what happens. You
Still
don't just light them and throw them.
They never-
You got to put them in stuff. You got to put them around stuff. People want to see how strong they are, and that's how injuries happen.
There's
So,
got to be
nope.
nothing more. like you guys can't though blow your hands off because like that's going to be an embarrassing one to go back to the wife with.
Yeah.
No,
Because
I don't.
that's the immediate thing they're talking about.
I don't mess with anything that's handheld. Rule number 1.
Nothing
So,
more.
and I'm not doing any tubular stuff.
What? You don't put
No.
the shell in the tube?
Oh, that's fun.
No,
That's the one right there.
no. You know why?
Yeah.
Because you
Someone's
one
got-
lost car away from that tube falling over.
I'll tell you one thing though, dude.
That's the fun.
You put a tube together, a little potato cannon.
Oh, whoa.
That's fun.
You know, when sometimes when you play in these charity events,
Mm-hmm.
they do the potato thing with a golf ball, and you get to shoot the golf ball at the green, and the
Dangerous.
green is like 320 yards away.
Dangerous.
I'm
Sounds
just
fun.
saying, y'all like no. Yeah, like we
Just be
have
careful.
like yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you know they put the customary sign up in Davie,
What's that?
no
Don't do it to
fireworks,
horses.
livestock.
Yeah, they knew what they signed up for when
I'm
they
like,
moved.
the
to Miami.
owners of livestock are laughing.
He likes it. Keeps him on his hooves.
He did. I think he's justifying the fireworks. No. He likes it.
He likes
He
it.
likes it. He's
Prepares him for the rodeo. Take a little break. Speaking of fireworks, the Panthers, they added some fireworks. Big money for Sam Bennett. Talk about that coming up next. Why does your breaking news sounder sound like middle school television news that goes closed circuit, like it just for morning announcements?
You don't like this? Today, pizza in the cafeteria.
That's exactly what I feel. That's giving me exactly like my first TV production class. That felt like the intro music that we had.
Ice cream day.
Oh man! Breaking news from Adam Schefter, Ian Rapoport, and Jalen Ramsey, who's confirmed it.
Yeah.
Even though Jalen Ramsey, here's the thing with Jalen Ramsey, he claims that I guess he's saying that he broke his own news. So I guess I'll give him credit first. I don't know. I got to see timestamp who was first. Hold on.
Is he trying to beat the reporters?
He's saying that he's trying to beat the reporters. Yeah. It seems like he did. I got 36 on Rappaport and Schefter, so looks like Jalen Ramsey gets the credit. Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No.
Yep. Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and according to Adam Schefter, he also is getting a raise. Wow, this guy's got the greatest. This guy's got the greatest agent of all time.
Can I just say this? In all the years that I've known Pittsburgh, and that was my arch nemesis when I was in Cleveland, this is outside of their character.
They're going all in, all in.
Right. What they've done the last couple of months is outside their character. And I got to tell you, I mean, it kind of falls in line with what everybody else is doing. And maybe they've come to the realization that, you know, the way we were doing it was a little old and we need to step up to the current, you know, to present day football.
Well, especially in that division. I mean, the Ravens, it feels like it's been their division with a little slice of Bengals. Like they always kind of, they feel like they're not embarrassing themselves, but nobody ever really thinks they have a chance.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Adam Schefter, ESPN sources, the Miami Dolphins have agreed to trade three-time All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers. As part of the trade, Ramsey will get a $1.5 million raise this season, bringing his compensation up to $26.6 million. I'm still waiting on details on if the Dolphins got anything back, what the deal is.
I mean,
and Jalen Ramsey tweeted out a video of himself running drills backwards up a hill.
So let me ask you this.
Sick of this guy.
Do you really have to trade anything or get anything in return when you get $25 million a room?
If you mean if they just took the money?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not expecting much. If anything, I'm expecting like a conditional.
It's almost like any team that would have traded for Jalen Ramsey would be doing the Dolphins a favor. Which is odd to say.
I'm definitely not.
He's a good player.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much. I'm like a 5th round pick is the most I would think they would get for him, if anything.
If that. But I'm saying, do you care about the 5th round pick when that $25 million is off your ledger?
Huh. I don't know. Barry Jackson has gotten any. Let's see. Barry Jackson. Dolphins trade disgruntled former All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers on Monday, parting ways with one of the most accomplished players just 9 months after giving a lucrative contract extension. The parties involved were not saying what Miami would receive in return.
Which is weird because the trade has to go to the front office and the compensation will be included in that trade. So whether they disclose it or not, it's out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, we knew based on the tone of Mike McDaniel, who's not one who's short on words. Anytime the name Jalen Ramsey was mentioned, it was very, I've said what I've said. I'm blah, 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 blah. Like, he had nothing to say about Jalen Ramsey. The frostiness that had gotten there was certainly noticeable.
I would say this, that to me, and I'm not saying this happened, that sounds like a situation that happened out in the open and now the team and the organization had to do something. Right?
Are you
Like
saying
it wasn't a situation like
a
say
meeting.
if
You're saying
I
like a
come-
meeting
if
call
I
out.
come-
You think?
It would say, I'll give you the equivalent. Say if I have a problem with Marcos and he does something that pisses me off, right? I wouldn't wait until break and then go in the studio and then talk to him. I would do it over the air to where everybody's put in a position where somebody has to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of how this looked like it played out to me, because I've known players to have arguments with coaches, but out of respect, it usually happens behind closed doors and they hash it out. If it happens in open, now the organization and the head coach have to make a decision, because how is that going to affect the young players and the other guys on the team who think that they could do that too?
Yeah, and especially like if you're in this position where Mike McDaniel knows that he's on the hot seat, which I think he knows that he is, and you're trying to change the culture or get out like whatever special treatment was there.
That's hanging over you. That's hanging over you.
It's hanging over you. So like whatever happened between him and Jalen Ramsey that, yes, seems like it was personal and that he's not dealing with whatever angle Mike was trying to snuff it out. You know, maybe maybe it was a public call out that he didn't like in a meeting.
Right.
Who knows?
That's what I'm saying, because let's be clear, right? I've seen firsthand players and coaches go at it. It's nothing new, okay? But what happens is you squash it, you move on, because that's your family. If you were to do the same things in a public arena, right? Now you can't squash it because it's there and you got to deal with it. And so it's kind of like when you see a player and a coach go at it on the sidelines, and usually when they ask about it, usually the player and the coach right away will say, no, there's no big deal. It's game time. We just blah, 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 blah. If that doesn't happen, it always plays out like this, right? Where the coach and the player can't repair it, right? So it's not only, especially in the locker room, we all understand and appreciate the phrase heat in the moment, right?
Right.
When you're a player, you put all this stuff into it. When you're a coach, you put all this stuff on it. When it's not going to plan, right? Sometimes people get heated, go at it with players or whatever. It's nothing new, okay? But where you have it and how you deal with it afterwards, that's the part of it that causes the issues. And so even if Jalen Ramsey and Mike McDaniel had a drag out, cuss back and forth at practice, right? Usually the two will get together, then you, like in a team meeting, you squash it. Like, look, I went over the line, shouldn't have went that far. I should have had a private conversation with him. This is over. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep doing our work, right? Yeah, that gets squashed, and it never seemed, throughout this whole situation, it never seemed like that happened.
Yeah, and the thing that I just find interesting about it, and yeah, you never know what happens behind the scenes. And I know that I know Jalen Ramsey is a very sensitive guy, you know, and is not exactly not had run-ins with coaches before. But I just, my first image of Jalen Ramsey being with the Dolphins was all being Mike McDaniel pouring the praise on this. I mean, probably as much as anybody, maybe other than Tua. Right next, remember, he has the knee injury right as camp starts, and he's basically right next to him at every practice. Right. He's making an impact, and obviously there was some unhappiness with that secondary with Fangio the first year, and whatever led into the second year with having a new coach and Anthony Weaver because they parted ways with him. Obviously there were struggles last year, but I'm sure we're going to find out. I imagine someone's going to leak like what the details are of getting to it. I'm sure we're going to find out.
I don't necessarily know that you will, because the only way you're going to find out is if both parties just say what happened. And when people tell stories, they always tell the story slanted to their side. I don't think Mike McDaniel will ever say anything.
Whoa. Is this real?
What?
Oh, whoa.
The Dolphins,
Uh-oh.
in return for Jalen Ramsey,
Uh-oh.
are getting back Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Whoa!
According to Adam Schefter, ESPN sources, the Steelers traded 3-time All-Pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins in exchange for 3-time All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey, the rare player-for-player trade.
Player for player.
Can I just say, hold on.
Minkah Fitzpatrick's back
Are
at the
you
Dolphins.
bleeping kidding me?
Wow.
Whoa!
Stinker Fitzpatrick. Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bygones be
Oh,
bygones.
now bygones, huh?
Wow.
Say it to his face.
Wow.
I had to make sure I wasn't Schnarfnerd.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Player for player doesn't really happen a lot. So that's crazy.
Wow.
But what? Hold on. Say that again.
Okay.
Adam Schefter, ESPN sources, Steelers trade
You sure it's
3-time
not
All-Pro
Scheffler?
safety. It's not, dude, I clicked on it, 11.5 million followers, blue check mark.
Wow.
It's him.
Okay.
Steelers traded 3-time All-Pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins in exchange for 3-time All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. The rare player-for-player trade and another trade. Wow.
That's great because I'm seeing like Steelers fans tweet out like our secondary is crazy now.
Well, Armando just because it was funny, I retweeted Armando Salguero, who just tweeted before this.
Yeah.
The Dolphins have now traded 2 3-time first-time All-Pro, 3-time first-team All-Pros to the Steelers secondary, Minkah Fitzpatrick and Jalen Ramsey. Both had disagreements with their head coaches, and minutes later, the Dolphins are getting back Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Wow.
I did
Wait,
the unretweet, by the way.
wait.
I mentioned.
You know what's crazy about this? In sports, okay, like, and let's go to hockey where the Bruins said they wouldn't be against bringing Marchand back, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
How often does it happen? Like, it might happen at the end of your career when, like in basketball, you might go back and fill a role out on the bench. But you ain't in your prime.
But his beef was with Flores. It wasn't like a Dolphins thing. Like, Chris Greer drafted him.
Wow. You think him and Tua are going to be like,
You
hey,
think they need to have a
we're gonna
conversation before they complete the deal
I don't
with
know.
Minkah?
I don't know.
nah, I don't think so.
I
No.
don't know.
Nah, I just think they're like, well, sorry, Minkah. Got to get Jalen.
Yeah, but that's why you got rid of Jalen.
Well, they had to pay Jalen. I mean, like, if it's a player for player, it seems like it was just money for money, because I imagine Minkah Fitzpatrick makes a lot of money too.
They were not far from one another. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you would have had to have a conversation with Minkah Fitzpatrick simply because he would have been the same as having Jalen Ramsey back. If the reason why he got traded was because of.
Yeah, but his beef, remember, like, he got traded the tank season, and it was it was apparently a beef with the head coach. It was a similar situation. So if he's getting a fresh start with a new coaching staff, Anthony Weaver as the defensive coordinator, like, I'm sure there is a like, I guess
Anthony Weaver will have him doing so many different things. You guys are going to really be impressed with that, because that's usually in his defense. He has 1 or 2 DBs that he does a lot of stuff with.
Wow.
So I got to tell you.
And has been pointed out, Monday Night Football, Week 15 in Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
Wow.
This is good.
Man, I'm still like, this is
Schmeathan says, Tobin, go to break. You have a lot of tweets to delete. A lot of self-sanctioning, a lot of stink. I gotta delete a lot of stinky Fitzpatrick tweets. Wow. All right, if you're just tuning in, breaking news, blockbuster trade. The Miami Dolphins have traded Jalen Ramsey to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick, Miami Dolphins' former first-round pick. We'll get more to this back after this right here on 560 WQAM.
It's time for our Tua.
It's our Tua. It's our Tua. It's our Tua. Tua, Tua, Tua. Tonga Vailoa. Not
Tua Tagovailoa.
A for effort. Dolphins quarterback.
Tua.
It's our Tua. It's our Tua.
Tua.
Tua, Tua, Tua. Tua, Tua, Tua. Can go to hell. Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins quarterback.
Daddy loves you guys.
Our Tua with Tobin and Leroy.
Check the history of food.
We got action, Jack. Hour 2 of the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Let us get to our headlines, which are plenty. Brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. At Doral Volkswagen, choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock, like the Tiguan, the Taos, and the Atlas. And remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen. Okay, just to catch everybody up, this happened during last segment. Jalen Ramsey traded to the Steelers for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick is back with the Miami Dolphins. Now, Adam Schefter's weird trade tweet makes sense because he said it ended it with and another trade. But then where was the next trade? We got it. Jonnu Smith has also been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a late round draft pick.
And he gets triple the amount he made.
And he's getting a bump in pay. He's going to make $12 million.
I'm happy for him, but we just gave him up. We're just like, here, take this too.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. That's what happened.
Love giving away one of our weapons with no replacement.
Well, I mean, we got Julian Hill.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
We got Pharaoh Brown.
Oh, yes. Oh.
We got Tanner Connor. Intangibles.
here's what it boils down to. They didn't want to give him $12 million.
Nope.
That's it.
Cool, but like, what was he gonna do? Sit out all season?
Yeah.
You can
Sit out the first 10 games.
There's no fee or no penalty or nothing like that.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if this is all about money after a certain while, you kind of got to play that game, unfortunately, chicken, where you're just kind of like, who's going to flinch first? And we're just like, nah, you can go. I don't like it. I do like the 1-for-1 because Minkah, still pretty young, pretty talented. We needed a safety. We were going to lose Jalen anyway. The Jonnu thing is like,
yeah, I'm a little worried about the Jonnu.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, but like, again, this was my whole thing with the Jonnu, and he was great last year. Don't get me wrong. He was great. It's not like the Dolphins don't have two of the best receivers in the league. Like, and they both had down years last year.
True.
And with Tua Tagovailoa, obviously it's always a caveat of him being healthy, but like, you got to get those guys back on track and getting the football more. Like, I understand the Dolphins paying those guys as much as they did and also being like, you know what? We also can't pay our tight end this for him having a career year. And, we're just, we think we'll be okay there. I can honestly understand the logic of that. So yeah, it sucks. He was awesome. Pause up. Like, I love Jonnu Smith. What a great year it was. What a cool story it was. But the Dolphins did fix a monster. Like they have a big problem, obviously, like still not knowing who can take over a corner. But I also was not sure about those safeties and having Minkah Fitzpatrick on this. Like,
They can move, and the thing is, they can move Minkah around.
Yeah, it's not a foolproof fix, but I do think they came out of it okay.
So me and you are going to differ on this.
Okay.
Because I think Jonnu Smith was comfort food for Tua. And what teams were doing is they were dropping so far deep and daring you to try to go over their heads. You couldn't get there because the whole deal is if you drop enough men deep enough, then our rush will get to you before you can wait for them to get past it. So that's what everybody talk about cover 4. But cover 4 is basically 4 deep, 4 across. You know, the back end of the defense. So what Jonnu Smith did was kind of at times during the season get these guys to step up a little bit. And that created space behind them. Because if one of those guys got to come up cover the tight end, there's a gap back there. Without that, you have basically told teams it's okay to play that cover 4. But it's okay to play that deep too. And you're making it sound like, oh, no bigs, you got the 2 receivers. It all works hand in hand. And I think people forget that.
I get it, but it is a salary cap sport, and both of those guys had down years last year, and you do need ideally for the Dolphins, let's just say Jonnu Smith came back this year, the Dolphins were gonna try and feed the ball more to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle anyway.
Okay, you in a perfect world, yes, you want to get the guys the ball to the guys that you're paying all that money to. Okay. But in the realistic world, by getting rid of Jonnu Smith, you think that made it easier or more difficult to do what we're talking about?
I don't know, because I'm assuming.
I'm telling you, it made it more difficult because now you don't have to worry about.
But how can you? But just by counter,
tell you how, just based on defenses.
I understand, but how can we say that when they had him last year and they both had their worst seasons as Dolphins?
Right, for whatever reason, it could be defensively, it could be they just had off years. I'm not disputing that, right? Like it sometimes when guys have off years, we want answers as to why it happened. Okay, you need a definitive answer. I can't give you one, but what I would say is this: if you take away what was good last year, you're making it more difficult for defenses to come out of that defense that kind of gave you problems because you have nobody underneath.
Yeah, I get it, but they're not gonna pay him. It's one of those things. Like they already made the choice of we took this guy, we got him at a bargain last year, and he basically, like, in a lot of ways, like Jonnu Smith is a nice player, but he's never been an elite tight end. And I love the guy. He's never been an elite tight end. You basically did Raheem Mostert with him at the tight end position, where he comes here, he breaks every tight end record the Dolphins have had, but before that was pretty much a journeyman. And I just think in the Dolphins' mind, maybe they think, hey, we can have one of our young guys step up and do things like that. Okay, but that's what they're in any sport, Leroy. We would have thought that last year. It's like, oh, he's not going to come here and break the records. Nobody thought that. Like, we thought he was a nice piece.
What we did know, though, is this. You're just looking at the catches. Look at the other things he did and how they got him the ball. With quick passes, with tosses, with stuff like that. He's a very versatile player. And what I say with that is when you add those things to the weapons you have, it makes you strong. It makes Tyreek more of a weapon. It makes Waddle more of a weapon. So while you're sitting here saying, oh, we can just have one of our young guys do it. No, you can't.
But they weren't more of a weapon last year. Like, it's a nice thing to say.
I can't figure out how to explain this to you. I can't. Because I'm looking at it from the defensive perspective and how they defended Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, which created the space for Jonnu to be able to do all those things. Who's very athletic, way more athletic than any of the other guys you have in that room.
But they're better numbers. They had better numbers with Durham Smythe as their tight end.
But again,
like, I don't know. So what are they opening up?
You're not leaving room for the teams adjusting to how they played Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Okay, let me show you how defense works. Okay, if you have speed guys on the outside. All right. Now, the first year when Tyreek almost had 2,000, right?
That was the second year.
Second year when he almost had 2,000 yards. Basically, they tried to play cover 2, right? But what would happen is you'd run Waddle up the middle. The 2 safeties would pay attention to Waddle, run those deep crossing routes, which was amazing, right? And then Tyreek would beat the hell out of that corner and deuces, we out. Okay? You could switch it up. You could go Waddle down the sideline, Tyreek cross, catch the ball through the middle, space, 88 out the gate, right? Then they started playing cover 4, which is instead of putting those corners close to the line of scrimmage, right? They drop them way back and dare you to throw it underneath, and then they come and make tackles, right? So they're not allowing you to get the ball over their heads. Now, where that becomes even more effective, playing all those guys deep, is when you have an offensive line who's not protecting the quarterback. So now everything gets sped up. You don't have time to get deep. And so everything ended up being shorter because now the coach is like, we're not protecting Tua. They're playing way deep. We got to come up with shorter passes to be effective. Okay? So that's how that played out without Jonnu. Now you bring in Jonnu. Granted, Waddle and Tyreek didn't have the best of years. But when a defense says, we're going to defend Waddle, we're going to defend Tyreek, we're going to pick up on all their routes, we're going to drop way back, we're going to do all these things, that left a whole football field of Jonnu Smith against a linebacker. So what ends up happening in a game, you take advantage of who has, same thing in basketball. Who has the mismatch? Let's take advantage of that.
Yeah, but you don't think that's going to, I guess in this
Nobody has the athletic ability as Jonnu to be able to get open like that. That's my point.
That's fine, but they're going to get back. Like Leroy, there's no way they're not going to go into this season and go with, first of all, like we could say the Dolphins relented a little bit on letting defenses take their bread and butter away from them too much last year. Like they've admitted as much. The quarterback has admitted as much. So they're gonna tilt back to trying and take more shots this year.
But here's what
it's still Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Dude.
But Tobin, you have to understand, part of those adjustments had nothing to do with Tyreek and Waddle, but more to do with the time you had to throw the football.
Yeah, well,
they had no time to run those deep routes.
Hopefully, and obviously, you hope the line is better this year.
Okay, but that's a whole. So if it's not, then those things are moot points anyway. By getting down the field,
I understand. Yeah,
so
it's gonna be
who's gonna be that mid? Who's gonna be that guy to catch the ball in the middle of the field? You think you're just gonna take Jonnu Smith out and put Durham Smythe there?
Durham Smythe's not here anymore.
Or whoever. What? Pick a guy.
That's crazy.
Pick a guy out of that room.
Julian Hill's gonna catch one of these days, dude. He's gonna catch one of these days.
Stone here.
Everyone was raving about Tanner Connor at minicamp.
Can I just tell you
what?
This conversation has been absolutely exhausting for me because you just chalk it up to, Tyreek and Waddle, they're going to have better years this year.
Okay, but we would have thought this. Hold on. We would have thought this with losing Christian Wilkins last year, and Zach Sealer stepped up at a cheaper rate and was just as good as Christian
because
Wilkins.
They also got a friend.
They did, but now they're.
So they had somebody who could fill that
but
void.
He was just as good. Like that is the game. Like you're trying to find some of these guys at the value, and paying Jonnu Smith at 30 years old $12 million when you're already paying 2 receivers, like top 5 receivers, like you're going to have to make some decisions along your roster. It just is the game, Leroy.
I understand all of that. The argument that I'm having with you is this. You're making a lot of assumptions. We're not really understanding why they ended up where they were and why Jonnu Smith ended up with 80 catches, right? It's a lot more than just saying Tyreek and Waddle had bad years. Like a lot of that stuff from year to year, the defenses that you play become more acclimated to what you do. And if you don't have the same amount of time or the same running game, okay, guess what? They could play that 4 deep because you couldn't run the ball worth of crap.
Yes, well, what does that have to do with Jonnu? Jonnu's not a blocking tight end.
But again, all of these reasons play into why you needed somebody like Jonnu Smith. And I'm okay with it. I understand decisions have to be made. It's football. I get that. It's a salary cap sport. Okay? But what I'm saying is this. Without that guy in the middle of the field being able to beat linebackers, you know what linebackers do when there's nobody to guard like Jonnu Smith? They get extra deep on pass routes, thus cutting into the space that you have to throw the ball in the secondary. So it all works hand in hand. While, yes, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think if you brought him back, he'd have 80 catches again. I understand that.
Then why would you pay him $12 million?
Because, all right, never mind. I'm good.
No, but why? Like,
I'm good. Good. Like, this is like a.
Seems like you boxed yourself in.
No, I'm really, and that's what you go with because you have no. All right, dude, you have no freaking idea, none of what is going on the football field. None. Yet you're gonna sit here and say, "I boxed myself in." Watch a game every now and then and see what's going on. I'm done. Go ahead.
You're lashing out for no reason.
I'm
like,
not
I mean,
lashing out.
you are.
I'm lashing out.
You don't get to
lashing
pay.
out.
Leroy, but
You know why I'm lashing out?
yeah, because you don't
I
get to pay
realize
everybody in
that-
football. That's not how it works. It's a salary cap sport.
Okay.
You got to make some decisions. That's how it works building a roster.
Okay.
You got to. I'm sorry. I'd love to pay Jonnu Smith as much money as he wants.
No,
If you
it's not.
could, you can't.
Okay. All I'm saying is this: the importance of what a player like him was to this team last year is not like you got it on the roster.
Then you should.
And so
bitch about,
other
then you should-
parts
then
of
you
your
should
field.
complain about Chris Greer paying Jalen Waddle like a top 5 receiver. That's the mistake then.
Oh,
So you have money to pay Jonnu Smith.
again, they paid before Jonnu got here.
That's the point, though.
Okay.
That's why they're in the predicament. I'm not nobody on this show is disrespecting the importance of Jonnu Smith. You got to make decisions building a team. If you're going to pay, hey, guess what? You got to pay Zach Sealer a monster contract too. You want to know why? Because you got nobody else to play that position.
Okay.
Should you let him walk? What's more important? The Dolphins letting Sealer walk or Jonnu Smith? It's a pretty obvious question.
Okay.
So I'm not sitting here debating your football knowledge, saying you're wrong and saying Jonnu Smith is open, but I understand the Dolphins got to make some business decisions because they've made some horrible, piss poor ones.
Okay.
That's it.
I just think that, and let me put it this way. It would be easier in today's football to replace Jalen Waddle than to replace Jonnu Smith.
Well, that's a sound point that I'm not disagreeing with.
That's the point.
But I don't. Hey, Leroy, I don't disagree with you there. Like that, but they're not getting rid of Jalen Waddle. You want to know why? Because they got. Who knows how long Tyreek's going to be here? Because you never know when he's going to go Tyreek, and then they're left with. I don't know who is left on the wide receiver room.
Westbrook. We got Westbrook.
Oh yeah, we got Westbrook Akine.
Yeah.
Whew. Anyway, we'll take a break.
I'm just saying, this is like I get why people think that it's not that big of a deal to lose Jonnu Smith. And I'm telling you, it's a little big of a deal than you're just shrugging it off to be.
I think you're mad because now Aaron Rodgers is going to throw a lot of touchdowns to him.
I mean, would that not make my point?
No, it would make your point, but now you
Right.
hate Aaron Rodgers, and now Aaron Rodgers is
Right.
Jonnu Smith.
Right. All right. Like, there's not a bunch of, listen, regardless of what Jonnu Smith has done before he got to Miami, There's not a lot of guys that play that position with that amount of athleticism at that position. There's not. So to go from that to Julian Hill
And Tanner Connor.
and let's go to break before I cuss.
Watching you. A la 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 long. A la 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 long, 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 long. Come on. A la la.
Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you. 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2 here on the program. If you guys are just tuning in, Leroy will be back here in a second. If you guys are just tuning in, the Miami Dolphins have made a blockbuster trade today. Jalen Ramsey. I'll give you the full details here. This is from the full trade for this. Getting this from Omar Kelly. Miami Herald, of course, you could hear him several times here, co-hosting with Joe Rose. But he says the Dolphins have agreed to trade cornerback Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 7th-round pick to Pittsburgh in exchange for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 20. Welcome back, Minkah, who is a good friend of Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. They can bond over the fact that they survived the Brian.
They both hate Brian Flores.
Both hate him. Both were able to make careers outside of his regime, and now you got to apologize.
Me?
Yeah, you called him Stink.
I don't want Can I just say?
Quit. What are your better names? Pretty good.
But I don't need Dade South or Stuntin' Steve coming out and retweeting my Stinka Fitzpatrick tweets from, what is it, 7 years ago?
Wow, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been that long.
That's crazy.
I don't even know. December 16th, 20. It was even gone by then? Must have been gone by then.
God. You talking about it before you?
I mean, I don't remember, dude. Man. You don't have to go and do the research and get the receipts right away. Jeez.
That's interesting, man.
But like, why? You know, they couldn't just let it rest. They didn't even let me go to Twitter and delete the Stinka Fitzpatrick tweets.
Nope.
They had to come back and just be like, hey, Tobin, remember when you tweeted this? It's not fair.
It's not.
Why can't I start on a fresh foot with Minkah Fitzpatrick? My guy Minks.
Happens too often.
And now all of a sudden it's like, you know what you said.
We remember.
Dade South says, surprised it was the only one tweet. Yeah, it was more of a radio thing than a Twitter thing. I'm trying to keep less Twitter receipts out there, although I've been very ornery lately.
Yeah, what did Ira call you? Rant boy or something like that?
No. I walk in on draft day. We were doing the draft show last week, and it was fresh off of my Heat rant on Monday, and I had some of our close friends from the Heat organization being like, hey, whoa, hey, tell this guy to calm down. But Ira Winderman, I just walk in and he goes, look, the ranter.
It's like your superpower.
I was like, hey. He's like, you looking for that season credential next year?
Oh yeah.
Gonna be I don't think I'm gonna get that email back from the media relations department. You know what, guys? You know I love you. Who's gonna be watching more Summer League than me? Starts on Saturday. Can't wait.
Kasparis Yakujonis. Oh, that's probably my best one.
I don't think you made him asparagus. I think it's Kasparis Yakujonis.
All right, well, better luck next show.
Yeah.
I'm getting better, though.
You're getting there. Dude, I was butchering it on draft night. Because you want to know why, though? Like, I was looking at, I looked at
everybody but him.
I had like 15 draft prospects I did because I did all these guys who were like from 50. This kid was not.
The Heat didn't even work.
They didn't work him out. I didn't see him in any drafts lower than 15. I'm like, oh, this kid's not following us. I don't need to learn that scary name. But
that's kind of why the Heat had to take him.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I will say, though, very excited about taking Vlad Golden, undrafted Russian center, former FAU.
Hey, I tried to get him. Wait. I got his number. Tried to get him on. He didn't reply. So they gave me a number. I don't know if it's still his number.
Let me. I'll voice
program
message
Michigan.
him. Be like Vlad, please join, please.
I'm not really. You think that has more of a chance of getting him on or less?
Oh,
Dade South says it was funny when Mike B turned down Solana's Kasper's Yakachone suggestion. Oh, he stoned him, dude.
really?
Yeah, Solana was trying to give suggestions on how Mike Biamonte should say Kasper's Yakachonis, and he basically gave him the
Not gonna work. Let the pro.
I don't take suggestions. I'm Mike Biamonte.
That's great.
Let the pros work.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think as far as nicknames? I heard you call him Ghost or something like that.
Call him the goat, just the ghost.
The Ghost. I like that one. People have said KJ. I'm like,
KJ, yeah,
that's not bad.
they're calling him, and they're just calling him Kaz. Like I saw Spose just calling him Kaz.
Oh, Kaz is good.
Pat Riley's calling him Kaz.
Kaz.
You know,
I like that. Pat Riley doing some dances when he made that pick.
he was happy. I
Yes,
like
he
that
was.
war room. That war room was having a good time.
Yeah. But I did.
You know what I found out? All war rooms do the celebration when they draft somebody.
Oh, that's true.
Like it's too much.
That's
Too
true.
much. We know we all right. And here's what's amazing. Regardless of what players get taken before you, what players get taken after you, what players fall down in your lap, what players you miss on, it's always the guy you always wanted. No, it's not.
That's our guy.
That's our guy.
Yeah.
We got our guy.
Well, the guys who drafted Chinese Joker, that had to be their guy. Like, because everybody was like, "That's the second round pick." This guy, that guy, that's your guy. By the way, speaking of picks, you see Deandre Ayton's getting a buyout.
Oh, I did see that.
Nobody's better than Scoot.
Can I just tell you, he was the second pick in the draft, right?
First,
Was he first?
I think he was first.
He is an enigma that no one
First.
could ever figure out.
First in 2018, he was
'Cause-
selected.
Because here's the thing.
Who was second?
Good call.
Let me see. I got the draft up here. It was
Saquon Barkley. I'm kidding.
Marvin Bagley was second. Luca was third.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
God, the Kings. Ooh, the Kings.
So the Mavericks ended up with Luka because the other two teams drafted before them. So I ask you this. It's weird because I always feel this way about the draft in basketball. That if the Kings or the Suns would have had the third pick, they would have ended up with Luka. Because the first two guys, regardless of who was drafting there, would have took those two guys.
Well, there was actually, remember the Hawks drafted Luca and traded him to the Mavericks because that was a big trade. Luca and Trey were a draft day trade.
Oh, which makes it even worse for Atlanta, right? How would you like to be the Hawks?
There was a lot. There was like a run there of Team Petty where Atlanta before Luca went crazy. I mean, he was always a better player. But remember when Trey made the Eastern Conference Finals? They were like, "We nailed it."
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Oh man, they have themselves a 2008 situation, Marcos, because they have Ayton first. The Kings pulled a heat because they have Marvin Bagley, and then the next four: Luca, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Trae Young.
Right, and that's like so. Sometimes everybody celebrates the first pick. If it's not a definitive first pick, you always end up with the wrong guy. And in that draft, two guys.
Yep. But anyway, he's gonna. I mean, there's a lot of Lakers buzz around him. Obviously, you know that he's gonna go to the Lakers. But I mean, he's not exactly been what's the word? Good.
Okay, there we go.
since the Suns parted ways with him and they made the finals.
He wasn't
Right.
necessarily great with the Suns.
No, I mean he was a frustrating player. Like, you know, a lot of 7-footers are. A lot of 7-footers have that weird motor.
Really like the
And,
gold.
and that's the thing, though, and that's the hard part to figure out about bigs, right? You almost want a big wing and try to move him to center versus a guy who only plays center because you know he's going to be limited in the wide open
Yeah,
offense.
it was
that's
weird,
going.
but that was the weird thing about the draft. This draft, like that center of the draft, no pun intended. Like there was a run of like 5 out of 6 centers, which is kind of how.
Yeah, but
Casper ended up
they
with
also
the Heat.
said that it was the lowest that a center had been selected in years.
Like first?
The first center was selected,
First
yes.
center gone.
Yeah.
But there was that run there in the middle of the draft where like a ton of centers went, and that's where Casper's just seemed like he kept dropping to the heat. It was
Right.
crazy. We'll take a break. We'll get back into the Dolphins trade, and
Oh, do
305
we?
wants to know.
Yeah, we want to get back into that conversation.
Well,
Great.
we got to get to your game balls and game bums because it's that time of the show. And then 305 Maniacs says, Tobin, how do you feel about the LeBron rumors? We'll get into that as well. Kevin Love seems like he's up to something. Back after this.
Got what you
This guy's a ball.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tobin and Leroy. Time for Leroy Horde to gather us around the locker room and hand out his game balls and game bums. What do you got for us today, Leroy? Is Franco not on the other side of the glass? Where were you? Did you just slide in here?
No, I was here the whole time.
You weren't here the whole time.
But look, okay, at the very least, I left music though, so it's not this.
You
weird
did,
thing.
you did, but still, where were you?
Nah, it was just what's hobnobbing? I was gonna say hollygagging. I was hobnobbing.
So,
Leroy, what do you got for us today, buddy?
my game ball goes to the Marlins.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
The
they
old
deserve it.
switcheroo.
I
deserve it.
have taken part in 3 to 4 last games, and I got to tell you, fun to watch. They're
Yeah,
pretty
but
entertaining.
never out of it. Never out of it.
They're not out of it. You don't know whether somebody's going to hit a grand slam on them or lately somebody's going to do it. Because if I'm not mistaken, they won 8-7 in extra innings. But at one point, weren't they up 7-1?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. That's what I mean.
Teams go crazy. They were
Yeah.
down 6-2 and came back and won.
Right.
Yeah.
So it like I'm gonna give them. They're on a heater right now.
They're a
Want to
fun
see how
watch.
long it lasts.
Fun watch back home this week. Back home this week. I think Jim Leland bobblehead weekend this week. I think he's going into the Marlins Hall of Fame. Love Jim Leland.
Love bobbleheads.
Well,
Leroy, I told him about. Hey, don't disrespect. I told Leroy. I'm sorry. I told Tobin about our experience with Radio Taboo because
Yeah.
bobblehead was one of the words as well. I told him about how you yelled out Scottie Pippen and how Vlad just kept yelling "Black loud in Disney" and wanted you to get Stephen A. Smith from that.
Oh my God. Who gets your game bum?
So my game bum is gonna go, and this is a right now thing, right?
Mhm.
Because I don't like assuming that things are going to be better when you didn't do something to improve all of the circumstances of your failure. So I'm going to say the Dolphins because we've all just made the assumption that Tyreek and Waddle are going to have better years. And I don't disagree with it. But you have to understand why they had poor years last year. And it wasn't just because they had off years. There were a lot of reasons that go into it. And I'm not sure, to be honest with you, if the Dolphins or any of us know, did they remedy some of the issues that they had last year? Because first and foremost, if you fix the protection, all bets are off, right? Then you got time to do all those things. If you have a better running game, all bets are off.
Oh, that would be nice.
Because now play action works. But if you haven't fixed those two things, it don't matter who's playing wide receiver. The most important guy is going to be that damn tight end. And so that's where my issue comes with them. Without knowing what they've done to actually correct. Everybody looks at the numbers, but fails to look at why the numbers are what they are. First and foremost, you have zero running game. Second of all, no protection for the time that's needed to throw the ball down the field. So are those two things fixed? We don't know, but we're making a lot of assumptions here as far as where they're going to be next year versus where they were last year. So until that's clarified, game bum.
Dade Franco says, can't believe Jonnu is gone. SMFH.
Listen, I'm going to leave it alone for this reason. And this is the only reason why I'm going to leave it alone. Because I had a football conversation and nobody understood what I was saying, which means I need to stop having those conversations. Because all I'm going to do is drive myself crazy trying to get people to understand the reality versus what they think by turning on the TV and listening to people talk. Okay,
I told
so
him
I'm
that.
leaving it alone.
Tobin didn't get it.
What do you mean?
No, he didn't get
I
it.
did get it.
No, he was talking
We're a
about
couple of football heads, Leroy and I.
No.
we're not.
We are.
No, I'm an insider.
No.
So I totally got it.
No.
There's if you go to Duolingo,
No.
English and football, that's what me and Leroy speak.
Oh, really? Wow. That's good.
Sometimes English kicks our ass more than football. El Borre says game bum to Chris Greer and Tobin.
Somebody says people treating Jonnu like he's Kittle. No, I'm not. See, and that's where we go with this. That's where we go with this.
Would it make
I'm
you
not
feel
treating him like he's Kittle. I'm not treating him like, they can't maybe bring somebody else in. Like somebody said, what if they get Kyle Pitts? No, because dude can't catch. Have you seen the guy? Like, he's a wide receiver. He's not a tight end.
That's some really bad quarterbacks, though.
Oh, okay. But look, so my question to you is this. You go with that, right? You go with that, and you say, oh, he's bad because he didn't have really good quarterbacks. But here, you make a lot of assumptions about what your team is going to be and what importance or what role Jonnu Smith played in that, even with some of those same situations as far as protection and the run game. But you'll easily throw an explanation out there for another team. So if the Dolphins, here, let me ask you this, just out of curiosity, because let's be clear. There ain't no way in hell Kyle Pitts getting another contract from Atlanta. He's not.
No, I doubt it.
So if I had to ask you this, if the Dolphins sign Kyle Pitts, you think that is a lateral move to letting Jonnu Smith go?
No, because I think that he's going to have to prove it with the Dolphins. I don't know,
Well, I'm just saying because he's very athletic too. But I just think listen, when you can hand the ball off to your tight end, like he's got a different level of athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes a guy comes from a situation that is not conducive to his skill set because they plugged him in a certain, they plugged him in and say, this is what we want you to do. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on into it, but I would say if the other two things get fixed, then not having Jonnu is going to be okay. But if they don't, and Tua still has no time to throw it, and your run game is still not any good, then whoever plays that middle of the field receiver is going to be a pivotal part in their success.
Would it make you feel better with Karen saying that Tobin is Fondue Smith?
No,
That's pretty good.
not the same. Like every now and then we get into these conversations and I just realize that like I have no chance because like I'm trying as best I can to explain how it really works and what goes on the football field, but we live in a world now that all you care about is numbers and how many times you did it. Like I'm known as a Cleveland Brown. I had more success in Minnesota because of the situation I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Does that mean that, when I left Cleveland that, we hope that he can do? No. It just meant that my situation and my circumstances were better. I was on a different team and I was able to just do me better. That's it. It happens.
Tyreek Hill has weighed in on the trade.
Oh, God.
He has tweeted out a crying emoji with Will Smith from Fresh Prince just looking around to the empty room.
But, I mean, like, both of these guys were added in the past couple of years. What are you talking about? You still have the same core. You joined the team minus Teron Armstead.
Well, I think he feels bad because he did tell everybody last week he was going to fix the Jalen Ramsey situation. He was going to mend fences.
Okay, Black Trump.
He's too busy chasing his track career.
I'm like, hey man, like you ever tried to talk to another grown ass man when his mind is set, and you could tell him, or people in general, You could tell him how great it is, right? You could tell him how, how much you will really appreciate him. And guess what? It don't matter. Their mind's made up.
We'll take a break here on the show, get you caught up with your headlines. There's a lot of them today. We haven't even gotten to get into Sam Bennett, who signs his deal. We have no idea if Marchand and Ekblad are going to be able to stick around. Bill Zito addressing that yesterday. We got Heat to get into, but obviously the Dolphins making a blockbuster move today, trading Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a pick. We'll take a break. Back after this.
Midday Sports and Silly Sauce with Tobin and Leroy starting at 10 weekday mornings. Heat.
What it is, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, you know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Welcome back to the Tobin and Leroy show.
Where's the bum?
You know, he was just talking about me. This guy was just talking about me. Hobnobbing. Probably posting a clip. If I don't see his laptop.
You ever just think about like opening the door and being like, "Hey, Tobin, segment started."
Too busy hobnobbing.
I was
over there?
posting YouTube clips.
Yeah, that's what I said.
To our site.
Probably
dude.
posting a clip. Got to get there. You know, it's a big hot trade. Got to get clips.
Got to get it up. Got to get it up, dude.
Quick.
Headlines are brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. At Doral Volkswagen, choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock like the Tiguan, Taos, and Atlas. And remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen. The Miami Dolphins, they have traded Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for former Miami Dolphins safety, former first-round pick, Minkah Fitzpatrick. There's also a swap of draft picks as the Dolphins and Steelers trade some picks. The Dolphins, of course, the Dolphins are also apparently in conversations, according to Tom Pelissero. The Dolphins are now in conversations with multiple teams about acquiring a tight end after sending Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh. So there you go. Yeah, they are going to try and fill the void, Leroy. They are not leaving it in the hands of Tanner Connor, at least for now.
Where is Elijah Arroyo? Should have drafted him, man. Seahawk. No way they're giving him up.
Raheem Mostert, he has tweeted out.
Hmm?
Whew. It's spicy.
Oh.
Raheem Mostert tweets out,
Mm.
hot take. Be a Pro Bowler on the Dolphins and get treated like bleep. Happy for my guys, though. Go ball out.
What?
Wow. He's right, though.
Spicy.
That's spicy.
Now, I would say this,
Is he right though?
and this is the honest truth, and this is not a knock on Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert was more of a benefactor of the circumstances than Jonnu Smith.
Mm.
So for him to say that, he has every right to, but I just have questions, right? I have questions because unlike any other position, sometimes the system you in matters, especially, I mean, for all the other positions, wide receiver, tight end. Like somebody pointed out in the chat that Aaron Rodgers doesn't really throw to the tight ends. So to have Jonnu Smith does what? Right? But the thing that I would say about what he said is that you have been hurt and banged up most of your career. And you come down here and finally get a whole season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he made a Pro Bowl. They didn't want to give you a whole bunch of money because you're over 30. And that's what you come with, right? Like circumstances matter. The situation in which you came into based on the situation that you left, right, matters. So if you don't have that context in what you did before you got here, how can you say you got treated like crap? If Mike McDaniel wouldn't have brought him in, where would he ended up?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
He wasn't a hot commodity at the time.
There's the tweet for everybody. Wanted Raheem Mostert chiming in. Cats fan still, though. Loves the Cats.
I just
That
don't
hurts.
like, because guess what? The one thing I will say You've never heard me say nothing bad about Baltimore Ravens or the Cleveland Browns. Never. Like, I may have said, oh, okay, you made the wrong move, and I'll show you, right? But as far as why they did it or how they have that right. So when you're over 30 as a running back and the team you play for keep drafting young running backs and you making $7-8 million, what the hell you think is going to happen? So, yeah. All right.
So you're telling Raheem Mostert just put the thumbs away?
I would just say, like, sometimes we have to be aware of our own situations before we start commenting on other situations.
He's
That's
lashing
all.
out. He is lashing out.
I mean, like I don't understand. Like, he benefited so much from being here.
Also, he broke down at the end. Like,
Right.
You're old, you break down at the end. What do you expect?
Right, but that's my thing. How look at the situation, right?
Yeah.
Look at the situation before you make comments like that and go, probably shouldn't say nothing because, you know,
Also,
well,
I mean, Devon Achane. That's another reason. Obviously, the success of him was it was easier to part ways with Mostert. You got to
but you knew that was coming. That was a plan, right? You see, oh, Devon Achane, there's no need to pay him. I get that.
But I guess the Dolphins, and this is going to go to whatever, it's going to depend on what the follow-up move is to Jonnu, because I get that Jonnu was important last year, but if the Dolphins can go get somebody for a Jonnu price and make him do the things that he did, I don't know who that is.
And the only thing I have to say about that is you make it sound like there's a lot of those guys.
I'm not making it sound like it, but it is, but that's the plan. Like, that's the game of it.
Right.
And they know
How
that.
about
And look, Leroy, it's been very obvious by their moves. Like, they've spent willy-nilly the last 2 years. This has definitely been an offseason that's been on a budget. This has not been an offseason where the Dolphins are spending big dough because they already did, and it didn't pay off for them.
Here's what I would also
Last
say
year's
about
result.
that. Up to this point, there hasn't been a whole lot out there. So while you're talking about spending money,
Oh, they have. I mean, they traded for Tyreek Hill. They gave him an extension. They traded for Jalen Ramsey. They gave him
I'm
an
talking
extension.
about this offseason right now. Like, who's been out there that they could have got?
The like, if you look at offensive line, like you look at the Bears, the Patriots, these are teams that have spent big money on offensive line. The Dolphins traded for a guy, or the Dolphins signed a guy with a torn Achilles.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody who is, let me see, said and I want to say this. Oh, he says stop the cap. Fins had 0 run game before Mike Mostert and Jeff Wilson got here. Yes. Agreed. Okay. And part of that was the new offense and how they did things. Okay. Then they got Achane. Right? Then Mostert got hurt. Then Wilson got hurt. Like,
He also had a bad, like, I know maybe he was banged up or something with his chest, but like, he fumbled the ball a lot last year. Like, he had some really bad games last year.
let's not overlook that. Right? So, what I would say about that is, yes, all the things that Esim says is accurate about the run game changing. But keep in mind, it was a new offense. Nobody was acclimated to it. They all ran that outside zone, right? Everybody had a great time until they didn't. And then they start struggling running the ball. Mostly couldn't hang on to the football. Achane came in and just injected a whole new life to that offense. And now I think internally they have to change how they run the football. And maybe that's not conducive to what they were paying Mostert. And that's why you see all the signings with the running backs, bigger, stronger, tougher guys, right? So, yeah, that happens. That's called evolving. So you keep or get rid of guys sometimes based on that. I realized that happened to me in Baltimore. I wasn't mad. I was mad because the guy they brought in I knew wasn't better than me.
Sounds like you're a little mad.
No,
A
Look,
little.
I'm not mad that they made a decision. That didn't bother me. I never
still-
once.
The
I
only reason
never
I know,
once.
The only reason I know who Bam Morris is because you were mad.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, no.
You
So-
called him Bum Morris. I'm just kidding. He didn't call him.
But I'm just saying I understood what they were doing, right? But at the same time, all I can do is go out there and play better than the guy they replaced me with. And I did. And I can live with that. I can always say to this day, haha, you made a mistake.
We'll take a break here on the show. Lots of free agent moves happening in all sports down here in South Florida. I'll get to some of the other stuff going on around. We got the mixed bag coming on up. Back after this. Leroy,
Yes.
we get a weather update from the Demesman and Dover law firm, youraccidentattorneys.com. Free consultation 24/7. Call up at 866-954-MORE.
Saturday it was scorched earth.
Woo.
It was so hot. Sunday it was a little bit cooler because of the overcast. Right now, I'm going to say it's overcast. I'm not going to say cloudy because I don't see any sun. So it's just overcast. It doesn't look like rain. Just look like overcast. It's quite breezy. 15 to 20 miles an hour coming out of, I can't give you a direction. I'm just saying this time of year, it's usually out of the east-southeast. And the temperature is going to be around 85, 90 degrees. As always, passing shower, maybe more, because it's that time of year.
All right. How do you do, Froggy?
Excellent. It is indeed 91 degrees right now. Sun and clouds mixed, just like you said. Stray shower thunderstorms possible. Winds out of the east-southeast at 12 miles per hour.
All right. There you go. He's a golfer, ladies and gentlemen. So we got hockey free agency is going to really get going and hot and heavy tomorrow. Sam Bennett over the weekend, he signed an 8-year deal, $8 million a year. So congratulations to the Peaky Blinder himself. He gets his munion. As far as Marchand and Aaron Ekblad, we don't know. It's still kind of up there. You got Bill Zito from the weekend, Froggy, because Bill Zito was asked about where things stand with bringing back their top 3 guys. We know that Bennett's in, Marchand and Ekblad. We don't know.
You said after the Cup win that you thought you could sign the 3, Ekblad, Marchand, and Benny, obviously. Do you still feel that way today?
Yeah, I have an idea. If what I think isn't accurate, and it might not be, okay, we have a plan B and a plan C, and but my preference, and maybe I'm hoping, is that there's enough for guys to want to stay, to be part of this, and be treated fairly, and be happy, and that's the most important thing.
Do you feel like you're getting that vibe in the back and forth?
I don't really.
We know
I don't know to comment on it, and I don't know if it would be accurate. So, sorry.
No, he doesn't have to apologize.
Oh,
No, he does not.
He doesn't have to apologize. All right. As Kachuk and Bennett said, Bill, the double champ does what the bleep you want. So, but Bennett is back. That piece of business is done.
Yeah.
Was that the most important signing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. That was definitely that.
Couldn't let him leave.
That was priority number 1.
Yeah.
Now it comes down to what is it going to take to get those 2 guys back? Probably can't bring them both back. And the other question is,
Well, they had 19 million, right?
how much of a haircut? Well, now they have 8. How much of a hair? No, they have 11. I'm sorry.
They have 11. So
how much of a haircut? But they have 6. But they have 6 more spots they got to fill too. You can't.
okay.
So how much of a haircut is Aaron Ekblad going to take? And he's a good boy.
Yeah.
He ain't that good.
But there's a lot of offers that may be out there for good boy. And they may try and tell that handsome devil, hey, come out to the West Coast.
You think they have more of a chance signing Marchand or Ekblad?
It feels like the buzz is the offers are going to be too good for Aaron Ekblad to pass. He's got to love Florida. And then love Florida, which he does. But like, you're going to take a half price?
No.
Come on.
I don't think anybody should expect that. Like that's being unreasonable to even think that.
Well, and remember, the thing with Marchand is he's 37. So whatever deal you're going to get him for, it's not going to be for 8 years, 6 years. It's probably going to be for 3-4 years.
You think Ekblad will get an 8-year deal?
Well, I don't know, but they just changed the CBA, and this is, I think, the last year they're doing the 8-year deals. They're going to be limited to 6. So I think, what is he, 30, 31? So this is kind of like your last hoorah.
So you think he should get but is somebody gonna give him 8 years?
I don't know. But they're saying that, but the money, like, 8 million, 7 million, like both of these guys are getting numbers like that thrown their way too. Like they're both being set in that ballpark. And so now it's a question of, well, how much do you keep? How much do you love it here? And that's why, Bill Zito, like, you had to keep Bennett, obviously. He's your playoff MVP. He's one of those identity guys, the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still part of me that's like, Marshawn was awesome. I feel like it's almost like lightning in a bottle. Like I'd be cool just letting him walk. And if it meant keeping Ekblad, I would be. That's the kind of where I'm at with it. Mm-hmm. On the other side of things, speaking of longtime players, Duncan Robinson is a free agent. He opted out of his deal. The last he had his early termination option yesterday, which was for the last year of his deal, which was $19.9 million, but it was really $10 million because only half of the deal was guaranteed. And now Dunk's a free agent. He is a free agent. Now there's some buzz, Leroy, that maybe he just re-signs with the Heat, maybe a 3 for 30, a 3 for 36, something like that. But he don't got to stay with the Heat anymore. He can now have other suitors come after him. And
more appreciative people that are more appreciative.
You know what, Leroy? Yes, some would say more appreciative people
of his skill set
than people who play him for the first time in a 47-point blowout. Some may say more appreciative. Some may use that description of more appreciative.
The old Duncan 2 for 2?
Not even just 2 for 2, but like, hey, it's like if you're Duncan Robinson, right? I feel like I look at Duncan's situation and I'm like, you know what? What an incredible run it was with the Heat.
Yeah.
But you just drafted another guard and
who can't shoot.
Well, we don't know that he can't shoot. He's 19.
Well, that's what they said. I mean, yeah, well, not now. I mean, I'm just going by what they said is going on now. That's it.
He's 19. I'm not putting the label of he can't shoot. He started off the season shooting well, and then he got an injury, and that kind of messed up his percentages. So
gotcha.
I'm not ready to put that label on him. But he's not known as a knockdown shooter. He's not Duncan Robinson, and nobody is as a shooter.
Right.
But here's the thing: even with Duncan Robinson being able to shoot, you just signed Davion Mitchell. That was a great deal. Loved it.
Yep.
2 years, 24. Does anybody have any issues with that?
No.
Seems like, it seems as fair and clean as a deal it can get for Davion. He deserves it. Happy for him. The Heat now under the tax with Duncan Robinson opting out. But I'm just looking at the depth chart, Leroy, and I'm looking at Davion and Tyler probably going to start. Now on the bench, you got this new rookie, Kasparas Yakachonis. He's probably going to get some playing time. Playing time.
Mm-hmm.
Jaime, got Terry. I don't know what the hell's going to happen with him, but he's not going I don't think anybody's going to take his ass.
Right.
And so I'm just like, if you're Duncan Robinson, you're looking at all these guys. Jovic is obviously going to get minutes off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he goes to the starting lineup if Wiggins is traded. Haywood, Highsmith. I'm just like looking. I'm like, well, where's his definite role? Because I think if I'm Duncan Robinson, I'm sick of being in the spot of, hey, your role will be this until somebody sucks, then you'll start, then maybe you'll be here. If I'm Duncan Robinson,
I thought he worked his way out of the we have this guy.
Right. I just think that if you're Duncan Robinson and you look around, you're like, I can't get 10 million from somebody. Like I could definitely get 10 million from somebody.
Right.
And like I don't know if you saw what happened with Malik Beasley. He got Terry Roziered. The feds are looking into some betting action on Malik Beasley. And so he was apparently going to have a deal done with the Pistons. He's their best shooter. And now Malik Beasley's contract, which I think was like 3 for 45 or something like that,
is on hold.
It's on hold. And so now the word today is Pistons may be looking at Dunks.
Oh.
So I don't know. I just
Dunks
saw him
with a 3 for 15. Just
for me, I looked at Duncan Robinson and him opting out, and I was kind of like, he was probably like, what am I going to do? I'm going to sign a multi-year deal with the Heat. They're probably going to end up trying to find a place to trade me anyway eventually. Why don't I take my own career into my own hands? there's no way I can't find at least one place is going to pay me 2 for 20.
I'm not mad at him. I
I'm not mad at him either. I'm not mad at him either. But people like the first reaction was, well, he's going to re-up with the Heat. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think he's my read on it was he's looking for a fresh start somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. I ain't mad at him. If I were him, I'd be frustrated just with my situation as much as he's bust his butt to get out of that situation and to make himself a better player and to be the company guy. I would imagine at times it had to be pretty frustrating. What happened?
No, I'm just reading some of the comments. Gonzalez says Duncan would be a great fit for the Pistons. Jerry says I would guess at least 60% of the players are gambling on the side. It's not even about the gambling that
It's
worries
not
me.
the gambling. It's the gambling on basketball
and it's the Johnny Thumbs who are like trying to make him tank a game against the Hornets in February.
Right.
It always feels like the Hornets games are crooked, doesn't it?
You know, if there's going to be one team you can control the outcome, it's going to be the Hornets. What sucks is, though, anytime these allegations come up, you know, the highlights begin hitting the internet, and you're kind of like, it's hard to deny, dude.
That's what sucks. To say if somebody's tanking in a career that if you're 40%, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, right? That's tough.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Determine that
After the investigation hit, some of the layups that Derry Rozier was blowing, it was tough to deny. It was like, whoa.
That's my point right there.
It's tough to. It would be tough to look at that and be like, that wasn't on purpose. The amazing thing is, it wasn't on purpose. Nope. That's
actually the worst.
Those were just that. I wish it was. We'll take a break. We'll mix things up on the other side.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming.
All right, welcome back. Tobin and Leroy here with you. 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2 here on the program. Got lots of action going on in trade world, free agency, Panthers, Heat, Dolphins making trades today. Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith going to the Steelers. Finns getting back Minkah Fitzpatrick. And we will find out what the financials of it all are. We know that Jalen Ramsey's getting a raise, a little $1.5 million. This guy's good at getting money. He's good at getting.
He's not a Rosenhaus guy, right?
No. I forget his agent. I think he is. I forget his agent's name, but he is not a Rosenhaus guy. Jonnu's a Rosenhaus guy.
David Mulligetta.
Yeah, David Mulligetta. He's a power broker, power agent. Anyway, it is that time, ladies and gentlemen, here on a Monday, where we allow Frog Boy to mix it on up. What do you got for us today, Marcos?
Well, this whole Jalen Ramsey trade kind of threw a wrench in things. But I do want to take some time to focus on the biggest re-signing of the weekend, which, of course, was Sam Bennett returning to the Panthers. Sam Bennett discussed re-signing and how the group chat that he's a part of, which is so great to think about these guys just in a normal group chat. He said the group chat went crazy.
I got like 3 FaceTimes right away from the boys. A couple of them were together and they're so fired up. The group chat was going nuts. So yeah, I mean, I've said it a million times. This group is so tight. So many guys that really care about each other. And yeah, I was definitely feeling the love last night.
Wow. That's right. You got some love online from Matthew Kachuk with the deal. So good for him, man. He deserves it. Yeah, I mean, hard to have a better playoffs than he had.
I mean, there hasn't been many that were better.
That's hard. Had to be very impressed with what he did. So congratulations to Sam Bennett. What else you got, Marcos?
I have a current hot take that is sweeping the NFL nation. Would you rather have Patrick Mahomes,
okay,
or a prime Aaron Rodgers? Ben Roethlisberger revealed he's going to take A-Rod.
I would take Aaron in his prime over Patrick now. I think Aaron Rodgers at his prime was one of the top few to ever do it. And so is Patrick Mahomes at his prime. Patrick Mahomes is just like entering out of his prime, I think.
You think?
I mean,
disagree. What? I don't know what to tell you. Like, if it's about winning and it's about winning, like, you know, Patrick.
You know what I hate about sports talk? I love the way in certain situations we take the guy who's won, and in other situations we disregard that.
Yeah, so but he's also talented. Like, it's not like we're looking at like Patrick Mahomes in his prime doing the no look passes, pulling rabbits out of his hat. Like, it's not even like a Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning type of thing where you're like, yeah, I think Peyton's probably maybe the more talented guy, even though Brady was better. But like, I think it's talent, arm talent, creativity on top of also he's won at a rate that Aaron Rodgers just hasn't.
Also, let's be clear. Ben Roethlisberger is a former Pittsburgh Steeler.
Mm-hmm.
What if he would have answered that differently? You see what I mean? Like, I think he's kind of cornholed into his position based on the team he played for and where Aaron Rodgers is playing. If you ask Dan Marino or you ask Tom Brady, they might have a different answer because they don't have ties to either one of those teams.
Like, why? Because like Kansas City and Pittsburgh is like a huge rivalry. Like, you won't pick them?
No. I'm just saying he's a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Oh, you think it's that?
Yes.
I don't think he's a Steeler long enough to do that.
No, I'm saying as far as Ben Roethlisberger making the decision.
No, I get it, but I don't think that Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think he's influenced by that enough. He's not.
Let me
he's
ask
not
you a
Steeler long
question.
enough.
Let me ask you a question. If somebody came to you and said 2 guards and came up with a number of names, you're going to be more bound to D Wade because you saw him firsthand. You just are.
Well, and also,
I'm not saying D Wade wasn't great.
I'll just be right.
But so you just made my point.
No, I mean, you're calling Aaron Rodgers bias versus a take.
No, not Aaron Rodgers. Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger. You're calling
absolutely.
Ben Roethlisberger bias. I would just be right in my take.
Absolutely.
See how much Wade kind of flamed the Kevin Durant thing, huh?
Whoa.
Did you see that? He's still there's something there.
10 years we've been trying to get this guy.
He's like 10 years, but he said didn't like it then.
Yeah.
Don't like it now.
Yeah.
I don't think he I don't know.
He brought up a good point though. I didn't consider that in regards to like KD, very ego driven. Not that he's like egotistical, but he's emotional. He plays with emotion. The idea of following LeBron, he would never do that. So stupid.
KD was kind of the originator of James Harden over D Wade. I don't think he likes that very much.
That's probably why.
That's my theory.
Okay.
Well, again, he played with Harden. Right? Like, let's not.
Yeah, but this went.
Let's not think our decisions aren't affected by where we're from, who we played for, or who we played with.
Yeah, but at the time when he made this take, D Wade's fresh off of kicking his ass in a finals and then became champion again. Like he just won his 3rd ring.
That plays into it too.
I think that Kevin Durant should have minded his P's and Q's. I mean, I remember why Dwayne Wade didn't want it back then, because they were going after Kevin Durant, didn't even take care of D Wade and his money.
Right.
I got it back then, but it's not like it now.
Yeah, but I'm just like, again, all these things and these signs of petty all play into our decisions that we make when we have conversations like this. And for Ben Roethlisberger to say, yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback I would take over, like, what if he would have said Patrick Mahomes? How do you think that would have went well in Steeler Nation?
You think he's going to get any like shade for that?
Yes!
Mahomes.
Oh, my. You're still doing it about KD and D Wade.
No, D Wade's doing it about KD and D Wade. I'm just reporting what he said.
Okay. All right.
I'm just relaying the message.
Right.
Frosty. I like it, though. I respect the petty. What else you got, Froggy?
I have some WNBA sound. As you know, Caitlin Clark has been the recipient of a lot of criticism. Another WNBA star who is currently shining, Paige Bueckers.
I think it's Bueckers.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's Bueckers, too.
Just a silent U?
You're making her a reporter for the NBA, Rick Bucher?
Kasparis Jakuchonis.
I mean, it's not Jacques Cousteau. I think it's Yakuchonis.
Maybe next show. Maybe
you made him an undersea explorer.
Paige Bueckers on inhumane criticism of Caitlin Clark.
She handles it with grace, and the pressure that she's put on every single night to perform at the level that she does, it's inhumane, really, like to expect people to be perfect and to not have off games or off nights. And if she doesn't go like 8 for 10 from 3, like people are questioning things. It's unfair to have to deal with that.
I mean, it's kind of what makes great players is the ability to navigate through that and understand, that basketball and a lot of sports are like that you're going to hit those patches where, you're not making shots. Hell, Steph Curry might be the greatest three-point shooter we've ever seen, and he has those moments. So you can say, oh, but he's won. It doesn't matter. They still have struggles because the success rate of shooting a three, if you're 40%, you're a Hall of Famer.
Am I crazy though? Like, I to be honest, I don't watch a ton of WNBA, right?
I watch a little bit when it's on.
Am I wrong to say that I feel like the mainstream perspective of Caitlin Clark is pretty positive though? Like, I don't feel like Caitlin Clark.
But
I don't
sometimes
feel like she takes a lot of heat.
I'm gonna say this: sometimes in any sport, it's most people think of sports as earning your way, earning your right, earning whatever you get, you earn it, right? This Caitlin Clark thing, not of her own doing, right, has kind of
it's taken on like a life of its own,
right. And so what people are doing is taking it out on Caitlin Clark, like she's the one out there doing this.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
She's not.
You're talking about like with the fouls and whatnot.
Oh my goodness, dude, she gets pummeled.
Yeah, when I heard Paige's take, I thought that was like based on like reaction. I'm like, I feel like most
No,
people celebrate
it's
her
based
trading.
on how
there's definitely a jealousy from players with her.
yeah,
but
which is crazy because I could understand if she was out there talking trash like I'm the best and this and that. It's not her. It's the people talking about your sport. It's the people promoting your sport. I would also say this, and this is how it works in other sports. There's no well, early on in LeBron's, not LeBron, LeBron too, but early on in Michael Jordan's career, when he hadn't won a championship for the first 6 years, they all said, oh, great player, can't win the big one.
Yep.
Can't win it all. Right? And part of that is because everybody claimed him to be so great and so good that other players kind of felt, no. Right? So this happens in a lot of sports. This happens in a lot of sports when people come into the league and you put this name on them and they haven't done anything yet.
Can I tell you another thing I did that was immature?
What?
So I was looking into this D-Wade KD rivalry, and I forgot that KD once time subtweeted Dwayne Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And because D-Wade wrote out this whole message about like, oh, KD says that James Harden should replace me on the top 10. Time to show him what your place in history is. And KD tweeted out, show me, don't tweet me. And I retweeted that with a photo of Kevin Durant crying in his mama's arms after losing the finals.
Oh my!
That's good.
Probably a good thing that he didn't end up here.
No, that's good. That's good.
Whoops.
Gotta be honest, never wanted him.
Me either. As I said on draft night, I'm a Yakachonis guy now.
Oh yeah, Yakachonis. I did it.
You did it.
Woo-hoo.
Love the ghost.
Yeah.
Just like that J, ghosting it.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. Back with more after this.
WQ.
Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you. 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2. Oh, hello, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
No, she's frozen again, right?
It looks like the spirit of Jennifer.
See her
is on the
face.
screen.
She's frozen. Is she frozen to you, Leroy?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. She's frozen again.
Continues her hot streak.
I told her to stop illegally downloading Bloodbath albums. I think she's got a virus on that computer, dude.
She's on LimeWire.
Yeah.
On LimeWire too much.
Oh, LimeWire, man.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, that was the stuff back then. Headlines are brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. At Doral Volkswagen, choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock like the Tiguan, Taos, and Atlas. Remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen. Miami Marlins, they're rolling. They swept the Diamondbacks with a 6-2 and first 6-0 road trip in Marlins history.
Really?
Pretty incredible stat. Yeah. First 6-0 road trip. They've won 7 in a row. They've run 9 straight on the road. That's just
crazy.
Pretty crazy.
I know another weird Marlin stat I heard about their winning recently.
Okay.
Amongst the top 4 major sports in North America, the teams with the highest winning playoff percentage in each sport in baseball,
Okay.
Marlins.
I think that makes sense. They've only made the playoffs, 3 times, and they've won the World Series twice.
Don't let us get it.
So
Don't let us get it.
never won the division, though. Never won the division.
We've won 2 championships. This is our first 6-0. Like what?
It's, well, I mean, for the longest the Marlins had, up until Arise a couple of years ago, the Marlins never had anybody hit for the cycle.
Yeah, the cycle.
So, while the Marlins history is getting longer, it's still a strange history.
Very strange.
It's still a strange history. So, congrats to the Fish. They'll be back home. I believe they got the Twinkies this week.
And they got the Brewers on the 4th.
Brewers.
Remember 4th and Brewer or something it's called?
Looking at a Sunday, maybe I might take a old Tommy out to the ballpark on Sunday. Maybe take him watch. I'll be like, son, you remember that whole crow bet? That guy right there. Hey, Yelich, give me your tickets, dude.
Come on,
Yelich.
Come on.
Give me those tickets. Anyway, other headlines. We got the Miami Heat. They re-signed Davion Mitchell to a 2-year deal, $24 million. He was at the Big 3 yesterday. Miami 305 got a big win. Shout out. That's our favorite team. Shout out to Coach Coop.
Yep.
The Pinks.
Listen, though, I learned so much about this team this weekend.
Did you bet on them? You were very angry.
I did bet on them.
Why did you bet on the Pinks?
Because, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the real measuring stick game.
PSG just won the big European thingy.
Oh, but it's Messi, the GOAT Messi.
He's what?
Fraudulent.
That
dude.
can't be your argument for everything.
Fraudulent. What has he really done in the past?
They lost to a really good team. They're not supposed to beat that team.
They didn't lose. They got
they got curb
ranks beaten off of them.
How much did you bet on the Pinks?
$150.
$150.
Oh, it would have been such a sweet turnaround.
Oh my God.
Nick T says the Pinks, more like the Stinks.
Come on. Just like it wasn't even close.
PSG, I don't even follow soccer. I know that team is good.
I mean, we don't even know the name one player on PSG.
I don't have to name one player. I just know that. I know they just lost. Everybody's making fun of Mbappe because he left them, and they ended up winning. What did they win? They won the Champions League. Is that what they won?
I think they won the Champions League.
Premier League. They won. They won the big one.
Win a real trophy, you loser.
The Club World Cup. They just made it up.
That's true. But this Gold Cup, though, huh? America in the semifinals. Too many tournaments going on right now. That hurt, though. That hurt. I mean, I really thought, okay, this is where we find out. Is this team good, or is Messi doing what everyone's accusing him of doing and being a former NBA player who's going to LA Fitness and dunking on everybody?
I don't think anybody is accusing otherwise. Everybody knows MLS is not on the level of these leagues. It's the only reason that they're probably in that tournament is because of him and all of his friends.
Well, get out of here, dude. Make way for Neymar. Neymar would never let that happen.
Really?
Mbappe.
Who's much younger.
Not there anymore.
It's just like, we need something else. This Messi thing.
So wait, you want them? Where is Mbappe? He's at Real Madrid. You want them to poach Mbappe?
Something. We got to do something. Trade a little tradesies. The Messi thing was fun. Everyone's cool.
Why don't you not bet on teams that win the Premier League or the Champions League against an MLS team? Maybe that would be more prudent.
So much value.
What was the spread that you bet?
Plus 3,000. Come on. What a parlay.
What a terrible decision by you. I don't know soccer, and I know that's a bad decision.
Oh, but the value, though. That would be great.
That's why you get that value.
What was going to be the value? PSG getting kidnapped?
Well, I mean, this Messi guy is supposed to be the greatest soccer player of all time.
I think if he was the greatest, he is the greatest soccer player of all time.
Oh,
but not now.
You don't get shut out, and you're allowed to be the greatest.
So you're just stripping him of the title.
Yeah, you know,
doesn't win in the playoffs. Doesn't win you a Club World Cup.
Ronaldo would never let that happen to him. Ronaldo has never gone back to one of his former teams.
Didn't Ronaldo get benched in the last World Cup?
His age. It's a lot of running in that World Cup.
That's funny.
I think Gonzalo says it well with don't bet on sports you aren't familiar with.
Yeah. Well, then I wouldn't bet on anything, sir.
Got our bet of the day coming on up.
Oh, yeah.
WNBA is going to expand to 18 teams. Detroit, Cleveland, and Philadelphia will all have franchises by 2030. So I guess the Miami Soul not coming back yet.
Nope.
So there's still hope for my Puerto Rican expansion team.
I guess so. The Stanley Cup is heading back to Montreal to have the names engraved. Safe travels, Stanley. We'll see you soon.
There's one guy who does it in Montreal or something like that. We got to go all the way over there.
You want to bring him down here? Don't you want the cup to be in, like, I'm sure they have like a place where the cup, the settings are right. You don't want him like in.
Now, do they just add a plate? Do they add a plate or do they?
It's got space. So like,
Right.
remember, there's like I don't remember. We had the keeper on here. There's a certain amount of years they'll take a plate and then it's retired to the NHL Hall of Fame.
Right.
But this current plate still has space on it.
So what is he doing? Chiseling this thing? Like, come on, it doesn't need to go to Montreal.
See him like he's Michelangelo?
Dude, hey, in golf tournaments, they have an engraver right there.
Right.
And it was weird because this one went to a 4 or 5 hole playoff. And so they had the names, and as each guy, it was 3-man playoff. Then one guy then they line up the other 2 names. Then once they got a winner, then that guy adds the name to the trophy, or the girl adds the name to the trophy as they're turning in their scorecard.
Yeah, but it's one name. Like when you got to do a whole team and front office people, like I think you want to be, put it in the right spot. And then, maybe they want to, because look, they know once they send that cup back, all bets are off with these cats. I mean, you never like, you'd be like, yeah, what happened this time, Matthew? We messed up. Because I lost the cup in a poker game. It's like, you can't bet the Stanley Cup, Matthew Tkachuk.
I'm going to get it back.
So technically, they said I couldn't bet on the game.
It's like I wasn't. He goes, I think I ran out of cash. I needed collateral. It was all I had. Picture Matthew Tkachuk just eating stone crabs while at a poker table.
Out of the cup.
In flip-flops.
Yeah, of course. And he looks at his dad. He goes, "You think I'm good?" He goes, "Yeah, you got pocket aces. You're good, baby. We're gonna take this home." Imagine imagine the Panthers lost the Stanley Cup in a gambling scandal.
Wow.
Jeez.
That'd be fun.
Not really.
A little bit. I mean, they can't take the championship away from us. Just a trophy.
Tyler Hero has bleached his eyebrows.
That's what it was. I thought he shaved them.
Nope.
What's up with that? Just Tyler being Tyler?
Just Young and Tyler Hero.
Huh. All right.
LeBron James, huh?
Oh.
Making a stink.
Weird, though. Weird.
Making a stink.
Opt in and makes a stink.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, you got to get your $53 million.
Got to get 53.
You got to get your $53 million. But did you notice? Can I get my open?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
Can I get my open?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because very interesting. Who was hanging out with LeBron this weekend?
Why would they do that? What's going on in Utah?
It could be something, could be nothing.
What is the meaning of it, Watson? What is the object of this?
Could be something, could be nothing.
Why would they do that?
I don't know if you noticed this weekend, Leroy, but LeBron James opting into the final year of his deal. Did you know this is the first time in his career that LeBron James
has opted in,
is playing on a contract year?
Ah.
Oh, no years after it. 52.6 million. Nice chunk of change. But did you see the statement that Rich Paul gave? Almost seemed like not so happy with what's going on in Lakerland. Now, is it possible that LeBron James sees Kevin Durant's going to get another 100 whatever million? You know, LeBron, who knows how many years he wants left. But I'll tell you what he probably does want. Another 50, 60 million for one of these years.
Yeah.
And do you think that maybe Jeannie Buss, before selling the Lakers, and the word is they didn't maybe know that trade was going on, he sees the price tag of $10 billion. And they've always said nobody's more underpaid in sports than LeBron James. And they say, hey, old man, beat it. Oh, we're not paying you an extra $120 million. And he goes, oh, really? Because they're about to give Luka, who knows, whatever Luka wants. Luka. Mind you, before LeBron James got there, yes, they had the Kobe years, but they were in the middle of the D'Angelo Russell years. Is it possible the Lakers are cheapskating the old man, and now he's looking to leave?
No.
I don't know. Why make that statement that if you're Rich Paul? We're going to monitor what the moves are to see if LeBron has a chance. You know what the roster is. You guys are trying to trade Rui Hachimura. What do you think you're going to get? Well, Leroy, did you see who was at dinner this weekend with LeBron James?
Who?
Could be something. Could be nothing. But look who was at this sushi restaurant with LeBron James. And if you look down there, aside from the intangibles lady right there, right next to her on the caddy corner is none other than Instagram extraordinaire, Heat big man, Kevin Love.
Why would they do that?
And we know Kevin Love.
Interesting.
Kevin Love loves to gas up a controversy.
Yeah.
And he probably was sitting there at that sushi restaurant. Savannah was there too, the queen.
Ah.
And he's like, oh, they wouldn't pay you another year, LeBron James? Wow. And they're going to give fat boy Luka all the money in the world?
Wow.
The king. Wow. They disrespected you like that, huh, Bron? He goes, you know, you got a no trade clause. You could dictate where you want to go. The Heat, they were thinking about giving Kevin Love that money. They were thinking about giving Kevin Durant that money. Is it crazy that Kevin Love tells him, what if we trade Andrew Wiggins and Terry Rozier for you? Matches the salary. Flip it on over. One last reign for the king in his former kingdom.
I'm sorry. Is that all? That's all you're offering? Just a...
It's a no trade clause. Okay. Well, okay. What about this?
Yeah.
And
just gave him Terry Rozier.
The prince.
Yeah.
Gets to develop in Sioux Falls.
Oh,
the greatest development program of them all.
That's true. You're still giving me nothing for LeBron.
Well, yeah, I'll throw in a second rounder.
Okay. Well, there we go.
I'll throw in a second rounder. Oh, okay. You know what? I'll give him former UCLA legend.
Oh,
Jaime Jaquez Jr.
There you go. Even though we weren't willing to give that up for Kevin Durant.
It's LeBron.
It's LeBron.
It's different.
Okay.
You know, one last reign for the king. And I bet you who's going to co-sign that?
Who's that?
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, he would.
I don't know. I can tell you this. Kevin Love, Look at that face, this rascal.
Oh, he's up to something.
He's up to something, Leroy. Can you at least agree with me? He's up to something.
No.
What?
He's from there.
Could be nothing.
Him and Bron are cool. They went to dinner.
It was in New York.
Aha.
It was in New York.
Is it more likely that maybe Kevin Love's making his way to the Lakers?
Well, I mean, that could be a thing too. I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Never know.
Maybe.
Much easier to make that happen.
Maybe.
Okay, let's say for some reason.
Well, there isn't, but there was reports. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but the night of the draft night, there was a lot of Andrew Wiggins to the Lakers buzz.
There was?
Yeah.
But a little bit of a weird fit, no? Luka, LeBron, Wiggins?
Yeah.
Just another wing.
Yeah, it's another wing, but like
They need a big.
not a wing with size. Almost makes you wonder were the Lakers thinking about a LeBron exit plan.
Wow.
Interesting. Hey, it could be nothing.
Could be nothing.
Could be nothing.
Could be.
But it could be something.
Jeannie's still running the team, though.
Technically.
Yeah, but you want to know what they call her? They call her Cheapskate Jeannie.
Wow.
And
Could be
apparently,
nothing.
if you're not giving the king a little extra dough after your $10 billion sale,
Billion.
I don't think he likes that.
Do they call her Cheapskate Jeannie?
They call her Cheapskate Jeannie.
Do they? Wow. All right.
Anyway, do with that what you will.
It's a very high contract, though.
Oh, it's a lot of money.
So much money.
It's a lot of money for an old man. But I'd pay him over Andrew Wiggins and Terry Rozier.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how we looking at that now.
That's how I'm looking at that, dude. That's how I'm looking at that.
I don't think there's any other way to look at it.
You know, he gets to play with Eric Spoelstra. Let's be honest with you. All right. Another year with Podcast Boy as your head coach. Another year of unctuous JJ Redick as your former podcast co-host and head coach. Ugh. You could just see LeBron rolling his eyes at Podcast Boy. If Podcast Boy talks about Luka Doncic's no looks one more time, I was like, I invented that. He modeled his game after me.
Has any more episodes of his very boring podcast come out since then?
I think he's having Durant on tomorrow.
Oh.
I've seen more, you know, he got flamed last week for his terrible ring culture take when they're like, you are Mr. Ring Culture. What are you talking about? You left for Miami. And he's like, people talk about these rings. I'm like, yeah, you. Yeah, you.
You're the one who did that.
Now, I would totally take this take back if, he wants to make a stink. But I'm just saying, it's a little much how much the Lakers are leaning into Luka. You see, like, JJ Redick changing his name to JJ Redick.
Wow.
Wants to be more Slovenian.
Look at that.
Yep. Put a little thing over his C.
He never changed his name to JJ.
Nope, he didn't.
JJ.
You'll find out who your friends are, don't you? Anyway, that Kevin Love, though. Look at that face. You telling me he's not up to something?
Rascal.
You telling me he's not up to something, this Kevin Love?
Absolutely rascal. He's up to something.
He's up to something, dude.
Hey, look, I'm gonna keep an eye on him, but Kevin Love may be a Laker. That's really what I'm thinking.
Schmiethan says Leroy's absolutely locked into whatever he's reading online right now.
He's looking up fireworks.
Yeah, what are you looking up? Are you looking at fireworks right now? What were you doing this segment? We got him. We got him. You got him, Schmiethan. Take a break. Back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. Take you guys up until 2 here on the program. Got to get to a new segment brought to us by our friends over at Hard Rock Bet. It's spicy.
Spicy.
It's spicy. Because we got some action coming up here tonight. So it's time to get to our Hard Rock action of the night. It's spicy.
Be careful, though. It's spicy. It's spicy.
Sponsored by Hard Rock Bet. Hard Rock Bet is the legal bet app here in Florida and the place to bet on your teams today and every day. Hard Rock Bet has props, parlays, live play-by-play betting, and the no-regret first bet up to $100. If your first bet doesn't win, you get your money back to try again. Ooh.
Be careful, though. Spicy.
Hard Rock Bet is offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. You must be 21 and physically present in Florida to play. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Now, the Marlins don't play today, but that doesn't mean we can't have some former Marlin fun. As today, Leroy, the Yankees take on the Blue Jays.
Right.
Max Scherzer's on the hill for his second start of the season.
It's spicy.
And I'm thinking it's time to tune up a little jazz music. Jazz Chisholm has 3 homers in his last 4 games. And you know what they say about Jazz Chisholm?
What?
When he's hot, he's hot.
Oh,
when he's hot, he's hot.
I've heard that.
And so, I think we're going to bet a little Jazz Chisholm home run prop today.
Ooh.
But that's not all, Leroy.
Spicy.
Cal Raleigh, currently leading the AL in home runs. He's going up today against Michael Wacha. Yes, he's still pitching.
Waka Waka.
Waka Waka. Well, Fozzie Bear, we're going to step up into the box and bet Cal Raleigh to go deep tonight.
Wow.
We got a Jazz Chisholm, Cal Raleigh, home run parlay, plus 1,500.
Why is it spicy?
That's why. 15 plus 1,500?
Plus 1,500. Couple ding dongs.
Just 2 things.
Couple
Just
ding dongs.
2 things need to happen.
Because you know they say,
Yeah,
when Jazz Chisholm's hot, he's hot.
that's what they say.
Yeah, I would bet on Giancarlo Stanton, but no homers yet with him back. I'm not sure. Like, should we bet on the first Giancarlo Stanton home run tonight? I don't think so.
With bad elbows?
Well, recovered elbows, I would hope. You know, we'll get back into betting Automatic Lopez tomorrow.
Ooh. Automatic is good.
Woo. No, he's good.
Yeah,
He's good. As the calendar turns to July and the Twinkies come to town. We got third place right in our scope.
Look at that.
How many games out of third?
Half.
Oh,
Right behind the Bravos.
right there.
Right there, dude. Right there.
Only 11 games out.
Shmi that says new segment. What is
Question: what were they?
it? Huh?
What were they before they went on this streak?
What
Last
were
6
they?
games. Yeah,
was the
because
Record or
I want to
position?
see how much they made up just in the last week.
I'd have to go back and look at what the standings are. I mean, their record right now after the Runski
Before this streak, they were in 9th place.
in the wild card?
I don't know. I just felt like I needed to give him an answer.
Oh. Well, they were 31-45 after this road trip. Or before this road trip. Now they're 37-45. They're rolling, baby.
Rolling.
Get to 500.
9 straight road games?
Don't be that guy. Just enjoy a run while you're on a run.
Yeah.
And the
didn't say
Twinkies,
I
you know what they
didn't say
say
I
about-
didn't enjoy it.
the Twinkies are no first prize, dude.
They were enough for this.
They're no first prize.
I didn't know they were called the Twinkies.
You've never heard them called the Twinkies?
No. So I
Everybody's
was
heard
like,
them called the Twinkies. You never
Yeah.
referred to them as the Twinkies?
Of course, yeah. I remember one time they were in the World Series,
oh.
and we were supposed to play the University of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We had to play on a Friday night. They changed our game to Friday night.
They moved your game?
Yeah, just because it was on
2 days?
one day.
Why? Because you're talking about okay,
Michigan.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Damn. Move a game around. That's how. Well, it's a World Series, so I get it.
You ever been to that Target Field?
What Target Field?
The Twins place before after they left the Metrodome.
No.
Remember
No,
that
'cause
hefty
remember,
bag?
I mean, what was crazy was Minnesota had to play outdoors for like 2 years while they built the new stadium. And let me just tell you, that time of year, it is cold.
What's this hefty bag thing I'm seeing?
Hefty bag was like when you entered the Metrodome, right? When it wasn't in football mode, it had like this outfield wall that was like a plastic tarp.
The hell is this? Yeah, I'm looking at it now. What is this? This is crazy. What? This looks like I'm looking at Spawn in the outfield.
Torrey Hunter was the king of climbing that thing, dude.
You can climb this thing?
Torrey Hunter could.
Wow.
That's why he was Spider-Man.
Light on his feet.
I remember who was the comedian? They said there's only 2 black people in Minnesota, Prince and Kirby Puckett.
I thought you were going to say Prince and the outfield. Wow. Major upgrade.
It's all happening for us. Anyway, that's our spicy pick for the day. We'll take a break. Play a little all right. Oh, no. We'll close things out on the other side. Welcome back, everybody.
Wow.
Oh, hello.
Can you see me now?
140. Well, we hope. We'll see how long it lasts. This is. You got the. You have the internet of somebody who lives in like the hillbilly sticks. What's going on today?
I don't know. And I sent you screenshots. You saw my internet is just fine.
I don't know if I can believe that because.
Well, if you're gonna call me a liar, then might as well just get off the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know this guy? Is this his real nickname?
What? That's who we're betting on tonight. That's Cal Raleigh.
Big Dumper?
Telling you, dude.
Is that his nickname?
He's been unbelievable. He's tearing it up. He's already at a career high in home runs this year.
Yeah, test that guy immediately.
It's good to see steroids making a comeback, yeah? Allegedly.
So if you say allegedly, you can pretty much say whatever you want.
Isn't that the rules?
Mostly.
Is that not the rules? Anyway, my all right goes to UFC this weekend. Unbelievable. Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira in the first round. He became lightweight champion. Alexandre Pantoja, he retained his title, won via submission in the third round over Kai Kara France. And then maybe the fight of the year. I know Leroy won't like it because it was two flyweights. But, dude, that Joshua Van, Brandon Royval fight, wow! That fight was so good. So damn. Joshua Van, 23 years old, Leroy. He just fought 3 weeks ago on the last pay-per-view. He's like, I'll step up. I'll take on the number one contender. Kicked his ass in the third round. They were going blow for blow. And then finally, like a rock, knocks him down in the final seconds. If he would have had 30 more seconds, fight might have been over. Knocks him down and now sets himself up for a title fight at 23 years old. What a night.
What's
UFC.
prime in the fight game? Like right around 30?
I would say 29, 30.
Yeah, okay.
23, very rare to see somebody move up the ranks that fast. Very rare. My no. It goes to Love Island, USA. I got to say, the season remains so stupid. Yesterday was the heart rate episode, a Love Island staple. And they had such a miscue and such a misfire. Because the whole point of the Love Island heart rate challenge is you get to go see if you can have your partner's heart rate raised higher than one of the bombshells or other couples. And they decided to do it as a couple. And I'm just like, that just kind of misses the point. Now, some drama still unfolded. Shelly's all mad at Huda because she bumped the booty a little bit too hard on Ace for her liking. It's a little bit, hypocritical from Shelly because she was out there doing splits on Chris's shoulders. But,
And she went back for seconds.
Went back for seconds. So from my standpoint, Shelly, you don't have a lot of leg to stand on here just because Huda had the booty bounce. That's just me. But still, from my standpoint, you take away one of the great things that is of Love Island, which is you sit there and you got to wait your turn individually to do it. To do it as a couple lost a little bit for me. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Wow.
A little bit.
You say this has been disappointing, but I can't go anywhere without someone talking
the
about
numbers
Love
are monster. The numbers are look, Love Island
a lot
USA
of watch parties.
since taken on. Yeah, they're having watch parties at bars down here.
That's crazy.
Ariana Maddox, since she has taken over, former star of Vanderpump Rules, so she has taken over as the host. It's a monster. It's a monster, but I'm telling you, this season has been nowhere as close to last season. As a Love Island connoisseur, Love Island UK, Love Island Australia. This one is nowhere near as good as last season. They're trying to pull out all the stops, and sometimes you have too many gimmicks.
Well,
Which is why
thankfully they're gonna be having the Beyond the Villa with last year's cast.
And you want to know something? I don't think I'm that interested. You know what? I know what's Beyond the
Does it
Villa.
look fake?
Yeah, I know what's Beyond the Villa. You want to know what's Beyond the Villa, J-Fig? A lot of brand deals on TikTok. We get it. You guys are more famous now. I don't need to know that. All right, it doesn't have the cachet.
Wow.
Also, bless you, Leroy.
What about our boy Ace? Still hate him?
Do I hate him?
Yeah.
He's got his own problems to deal with, like he's got his hands full with Shelly. She's very gaga over Chris, but she's crying because Huda was twerking on him. And to be honest with you, you guys need to make up your mind. Is it a challenge or is not a challenge? Like this crew seemed to be, it's a challenge. You could do whatever you want. And now there's crying and whining over it. I just like make it up, make up your mind. Do you want it? You want challenge rules? Because some people in a challenge have grace and they're like, it's a challenge. I don't care. I have my person. I'm going to be very gentlemanly. And you lose the challenge. You look soft, but you don't get in trouble. If you're going to risk getting in trouble, don't be mad because somebody goes a little too far. Them's the Love Island rules.
People
Those
are
are the
also
rules
saying
of the
that they
island.
had an edit where they probably took out a chunk of Huda's performance.
Perhaps. Because from what I saw, she did nothing different than what Shelly was doing to Chris. Nothing different.
That doesn't even sound like a woman.
Huda?
You know, she probably had the one upper. This is what you're doing? Well, here's what I'm gonna do.
She had a double header, dude, and she started both ends. Wow. She was like Shohei
Also,
Ohtani. Pitched
Huda
and hit.
is matched up with the guy that Shelly went twice with. So.
Right. And even though Huda's not, I mean, they're not into each other very clearly.
I don't know what's going on, but I keep hearing Huda, I keep hearing Ace, and I keep hearing Shelly. Those have to be the stars of this season.
Yeah, Huda's for sure the most, Huda is like the most drama all year because her and Jeremiah had this very nasty breakup. And now she's a fan favorite because she's back, but she doesn't really have any squeeze. And then the big controversy over Casa Amor was Taylor picked Clark over Alondria, who was together the whole time because Clark, I don't know, he just digs her more. So Alondria is left out in the cold.
And then they tried to make Nick and her happen.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing. And that's another thing is like Nick goes out there and kisses Alondria and Iris was telling what's that girl's name? Bianca. Sierra. Yeah, she tells Sierra. She's like, wait, you're cool with her kissing him? I wouldn't be cool with that. And she goes, man, maybe I shouldn't be cool with that.
You're right. I don't know. Wow.
Anyway, Leroy, what's your all right? No. Enough Love Island talk.
So my all right goes to Aldrich Potgeider.
Oh.
All right. I think he's South African. He won the on the PGA Tour yesterday. He's 20.
Wow.
It's like, and he's a big boy. Like, he goes right by the weight room to the snacks. At 20, whew, I can't believe I can't imagine what he's gonna look like 10 years from now. But he hits it a ton.
Where did he go to school?
He didn't. He's
He
20.
didn't go to school? Well, I don't know. Some guys, I know college kids sometimes go on tour and get to play.
Yeah, sometimes. But usually those guys you hear about they have a new thing now. If you finish in the top 20 of the rankings, and if you finish number 1, you automatically get your card in college. So from college. So they call it something U. Where like that's what happened to Ludwig Oberg, right? He was the number 1 ranked player in the world, the amateur, and he automatically got his card. He didn't have to go to Q school or anything like that. The number 1 guy does. The next 24 guys get status either on the what's the other tour? Not the Nationwide Tour, but the Korn Ferry Tour, which is right below the PGA Tour or the European Tour. So, like, yeah, there's, and so a lot of these young guys are really good, but this guy hasn't done any of that, and he won at age 20. So it's been a while since a young guy did that. I think the last one was Jordan Spieth. So yeah, it's been a while. Let me tell you something. Disney Plus. HBO does this. Drives me crazy. You advertise for 17 months on a new series coming out. And I'm going to tell you about Leroy. If you don't release the whole series at the same time, you might lose me because I'll forget when the second half comes out. So I start watching this Ironheart, right? If you saw Wakanda Forever, right? This movie is centered around the girl that they were saving in Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
And so she does her thing. They only show 3 episodes.
Mm.
And now I got to wait until this week or next week for the second 3 episodes. I'm like,
is that all it is? Is just 6 episodes? Or
I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't know. But just release the whole series like everybody else does.
Date's House is out tomorrow.
All right, still.
Jennifer, aside from your internet, what's your all right no today?
Well, that's definitely
Your all right
no,
should
no.
be your all right should be you only had to do a show for 12 minutes.
I've got to tell you, Leroy, I've been here the whole time, so doing the whole show does not make any sense. Okay, -1 to you. For lashing out on
Hey,
-1 to your technology. You're lashing out.
Hey, as many times as people talk about technology with me.
Everything you've been saying, so how could you even say that?
Hey, the fact that everybody
You didn't need my face on the screen.
The fact that everybody gets on me for technology kicking my ass, and I've been looking at a photograph of a non-moving JFig for the last 2 hours.
That's not my fault. That's actually something I cannot control. Now, me bumping into things is different. Tobin, I almost cursed.
That's what we should all do. We should all just freeze one time.
Just to mess with her.
And she's like, hey, are you guys there?
I'm going to show you a segment of me versus technology. Anyway, my all right goes to Sam Bennett for being a man of his word and sticking to it.
That money
You have a
helps.
choice.
Ring.
When you tell a room full of strip club that you're sticking around, you're sticking around.
You have to say yes. Correct. So also in Bill Zito, we trust. And I was going to give you an all right, Tobin, for earlier, but I'm not going to.
Why?
All right. You're being mean to me. See?
How could you? Oh, he's doing it again. He's doing it. What's crazy is I didn't even look at the computer. I looked at him in real life. I got confused.
What do you got, Froggy?
It's good at freezing. My all right goes to the staff at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital that was very kind to me this weekend, and my son, shout out to them. The entire Joe DiMaggio staff gets my all right for sure.
All right.
My oh no goes to Jake Paul. Another victory for the future heavyweight champion.
You see that he's threatening to sue people now who claim his fights are rigged?
Yes, I saw him do his urine.
Yeah, it's called the U School. There it is.
I saw him do his urine sample or whatever. Like, I mean, he was kind of just pouring a liquid into another canister, but he's really trying to prove that he's not juicing for some reason or that this isn't rigged. But
I don't think it's rigged. I mean, I don't think it's rigged. You're fighting a guy who's 40 who hasn't been a relevant fighter in 15 years. Like, I don't know what people expected Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to do against Jake Paul. I think people are mad because it took him like 9 rounds to even throw a punch. And then when he started throwing punches, he was landing a lot of punches on Jake Paul. But he's legitimately probably got like the least amount of good grace of any fighter over the last 20 years, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. But mind you, it was a backup fight. He wasn't supposed to fight him. He was going to fight Gervonta Davis. Now that's a freak show.
That is a freak show.
Jake Paul versus a 5'5" lightweight. Count me in on that one.
Oh, that's
I'm in. We've already seen his brother do it.
True. Any chance Jake Paul champion one day? Do you see any improvement in his game? Yeah, I'm sure you didn't watch a second of it, but
I did watch it, actually.
Oh.
I watched it because I was watching it for the ring walks, and then by the time they got to Topuria was over in a round, so then I went back to watching it, and I was like, yeah, this fight sucks. I don't know.
Okay.
It's nothing against his skill, but like I don't go into these things looking for Jake Paul's skill. I'm like, is this going to captivate me because he's fighting a 58-year-old or an actual person who he's in danger against? The thing that upsets people is he fights people there's no danger against.
Right.
But like that's the gimmick is, and I honestly think give an oh no to anybody who's still upset by Jake Paul. Like if you're still upset, you fight a real boxer. It's like, he's not gonna fight a real boxer. And like, he knows anytime that there's a crappy matchup, because he tries this whole, I'm gonna be champion of the world one day. I'm sure they could set up some matchup in the WB who gives a rat's ass rankings, and he'll be a world champion one day. And you want to, nobody will care, because nobody will think of him as a world champion class boxer, because he's not. But I've always said he's not as embarrassing as people think.
Okay.
Like, he goes in there. I've seen plenty of people who try to box who are not boxers, and he looks about as good as any of those guys in their rankings. But I wasn't surprised. Like, Julio Cesar Chavez, like, this guy, he's been called out for quitting, drinking, doing too many drugs. He lost to Anderson Silva in boxing pretty recently. Who Jake Paul beat. It was not a surprise at all. Anyway, watch UFC. That was great. Or dirty boxing. That's a sport.
Oh, it is a sport.
We'll talk to you rascals tomorrow.
Today, pizza in the cafeteria.
Come and find me, motherfuckers. Midday Sports